discussion, second and third hour, about environmental toxins, air quality, health, a lot about health because the way we're building our homes now, being very tight. CDA Environmental is a hygienist in the industry, meaning they come out and test. They're a testing lab, you might say. They come out and test for mold, mildew, and or types, because we're going to talk a lot about the fear factor behind mold, and mold doesn't have to be a big concern, nor uh, as devastating as a lot of people make it out to be. The media has played off fear, and look, mold can be detrimental, no question about it. Stachybotrys and several other molds. We're going to talk about them. So don't tune in the second and third hour, because we're going to talk a great deal about air quality. And Devin is a sharp dude, very intelligent, certified, trained, all that good stuff. Great company. Great advice. So tune in. We're going to be talking about that. And the humidity, summertime, big factor, big issue. However, something else is on the scope for today, and that's me talking, running my mouth first hour about kids, about our children, about education. Yep, going to hear it. Why school starts up. School starting. I mean, basically. I could tell you CMS starts here and private schools start here and South Carolina starts here, and I'm not going to do all that. Bottom line is we're in mid-August, August 16th. These kids are getting primed, ready, dressed, supplied, getting cranked up, getting ready to go back to school. I mean, that's the bottom line, right?
Man, I'm glad I'm not in school anymore.
Me too. I speaking of school, a lot of kids love school. A lot of kids despise school. There's two sides to school, and this is
I'd say more despise it than like it.
well,
If you take a poll.
now I would agree with you, especially public school children.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, I hate saying that, but in my discussions with kids, and I've talked to a lot of kids, a lot, and I'm going to be talking to a lot more kids. Last week woke me up to something. I mean, and like it had been glaring me in my face the whole life, and on this program, and my everyday mission in life and purpose is to, spread the word about opportunities to find greater purpose and happiness. That's the bottom line. Okay. Well, we had a 17-year-old student on the show last week, a homeschooled young man, and his father, who is a general contractor, born and raised handyman, fix it, critical thinking dude, raised with a great parent, family life, functionality in family, guidance, mentoring, and a father that worked in the trades with tools. Big deal. I mean, big. Just like me, raised with a father that was an electrician. Okay, here's a 17-year-old young man. You heard him.
Yeah.
Right. Kids tell it like it is. I mean, they really do. And if we would just listen to them, and it's been 3 generations now that we've lost to media. And when I said what I just said, I really, it really slapped me last week, this young man, Landon, when he told me what he told me. And he shared some things with me off the air that he didn't want to divulge on the air. And that's about his education, where he's going to college and community college and everything. And he didn't really want to, and like most kids, they're fearful of speaking the truth in some respect. And he was, if you recall. He said, I don't want to say this on air. But what he told me was the truth. And not only that, on air, he says, I'm not learning much in school. And he said, the only reason I'm going is because I have a scholarship and it doesn't cost me anything. And I want the certification. So he's going for a piece of paper. And it's free. Or he admittedly said I wouldn't go if I had to pay for it, because I wouldn't be getting what I'm paying for. That's sad. And that's on a community college level. And that's what we're dealing with in our public systems. Now, what are we going to do to fix it? We'll talk a little bit about that. But, I'm not out to fix the system. I'm really not. I can't. I can't. We can't. But we can raise the awareness to the issues with our system where our schools are starting. Bottom line, schools are starting up across the country. Public schools, private schools, homeschool. We going back to school. School buses are going to be cranking up and on the road soon.
The children are going back.
Children are going back to school. Okay. What are we going to do? Well, I want to talk about put tools in schools this first hour. I really do because, it gets worse. It's not getting any better. And we keep insisting that these kids go to college and get a degree. And my question is, in what? Then what you going to do? Okay, go to college, get a degree, and then what you going to do? And then most of them don't have a clear-cut answer or pathway to the answer. And that's the truth. Now, that it's not me talking. It's the reality that all the higher education institutions like Harvard and MIT have done studies around, and I can go on about other education, PragerU and this, that, and the, I could just go on and on and on because I do my research. I do research because I'm on the radio and I want people to understand the truth of what really is going on. And little old Landon last week just telling the truth like crazy, and we as parents, we as adults need to listen. It ain't working. Okay. So what are we going to do about it? Well, first of all, we got to get our. Do you know there is a 200%? I don't have that article in front of me. I read an article today. Excuse me. I read and listened to a podcast yesterday about reality about our kids, about what we're not doing, and we're not letting them be kids. And the big thing I took away with all and I can see here, and it's all negative. I hate it. But I'm trying. I've worked real hard in trying to turn my attitude around to be positive, regardless of all the negativity. I'm going to make chicken salad out of chicken poop. Okay. We're going to do our best, but it's a we thing. It really is a we thing, and it has to be done. Why? 200% in suicides in adolescent kids. I forget the age bracket. It's like between 13 and 20 or something like that. 200% rise in suicides. 200%. Why? Somebody ain't happy. We got some mental health issues going on. And I'm going to tell you something. It's real simple. And it really is. I'm not a shrink. I'm not educated in psychotherapy, psychology, or anything else. But then again, yeah, I am too. I've lived, I've listened, and I've learned. And I'm still, being a human being, make mistakes. But we all have got to be responsible for who and what we are. And our kids aren't happy. But you ask them what makes them happy. Put a tool, put a paintbrush, and I'm not talking about a paintbrush to paint your bedroom. I'm talking about an artist paintbrush or a paintbrush to paint your bedroom. Give them something to be productive, creative, or to use their imagination. Think, create, and play. Whatever that might be, they're not doing it. Yeah, they got a smartphone and they can do all that on a smartphone. No, they really can't. It's not the same. I've lived it. I've done it. I've watched it. I've expressed it. I've shared it. That is not the same. Put tools in schools. What's our mission? To raise the awareness to the career pathways, opportunities in the trades, using your hands, your mind for critical thinking, building and creating, fixing, repairing. I personally, in my career of 55 years, have been through 5 or 6 recessions. The whole industry's controlled. Our whole lives Our whole lives are controlled by what? Got a guess?
I'd say the government, money, you name it.
Money, 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 money. No matter how the economy's run or is, be it good, be it high, things always break. There's always something to be repaired. Always. Always. Roofs leak, dishwashers break.
Usually it breaks one after the other, after the
Right.
other, after the other.
Commodes break. Faucets leak. Circuit breakers fail. Power fails. Things break all the time and must be repaired, regardless if there's money or not. Am I right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? Who's around to fix it? Who knows how to fix it? That number of people keeps declining year after year after year. And stupid has become a serious issue where nobody, relatively speaking, very few people understand how to fix things. I mean, it's evident. It's true. The trades, there's so many jobs available in the trades, be it welding, painting, plumbing, drywall, electrical, you name it. But yet, due to our propaganda machine called TV, which I watched 2 weeks ago, for about 4 days, I watched
You
mainstream.
watch TV?
I
Unbelievable.
didn't talk about that last week.
I didn't remember you talking about it.
Okay,
First I've heard of it.
I went to the beach. I kind
Yeah,
of
I did know that.
and took a little break. Well,
Right.
we watched some TV because
Okay.
we went out and got fried, burnt, so we couldn't go back out. So anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
So okay, if I got to watch TV, mainstream at that, because we didn't have any pay TV, Netflix, all that stuff. So I watch mainstream TV. I said, I'm gonna watch mainstream TV and I'm gonna capture all the commercials. I don't want to, really don't, but I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna take away something from this experience. There's cramming higher education down your throats like crazy through media and advertising. But yet you see nothing about the opportunities that are available in the trades. None. If we, being the industry that's whining, complaining about the shortfall of labor, can't find good help, can't find it. It doesn't exist. They'll complain, and they'll even write big checks for scholarship donations. They will. But yet, look at what we got. Naught. Why? The image. We need to market the image for really what it is, the money you can make, the benefits that are there, and the endless career pathways that provide security and a lifelong career pathway. Duh.
But you enjoyed the TV, right? You enjoyed watching it, Ray?
No. I muted a lot of the spots, but I at least watched the content, right? So anyway.
You get the gist of it.
Yeah. But we're not marketing it. We're not showing them. It's lesser than. And
Doesn't
our
make money, that's
education
why.
says it's about money. But it's not about money. It's not about money at all. It's about humanity and the well-being of who and what we are as human beings. We'll talk more about it. You're listening to About Your House, 704-227-8986. Love to talk to you. People don't do that enough anymore either. That's talk. Yeah, we need to talk, communicate. It works. Get a lot done. Yesterday, I talked to 3 people. I got so much done just talking to 3 people. It was unreal. Then I waited on about 5 other emails. Talking works. It really does. Let's do it. Come on back. About Your House. That's what we do here. Talk about stuff. Join me. 704-227-8986. About Your House on Fox Sports Charlotte. Every week, 8 to 11 a.m. Fox Sports Charlotte. FoxSportsRadioCharlotte.com on your browser. YouTube Live. Facebook Live. About Your House radio page. We'll be back with more.
About the show, go to our Facebook page, About Your House Radio. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Mike Libretto here, inviting you to come in and experience Charlotte's best New York pizza and great Italian food at Libretto's Pizzeria. Serving Charlotte proudly since 2008, Libretto's pizzas are sure to please by the slice or grab a whole pie. Pastas, entrees, great appetizers, sandwiches, and wings. A menu to please the whole family. Dine in or takeout, available 7 days a week. Visit us online at librettospizzeria.com or call us at 704-714-1442. That's Libretto's Pizzeria. Stop in and become part of the family.
Summer heat is here, along with the humidity. Will your air conditioner provide the comfort needed? ABS Insulating can provide the resources to give you comfort this summer and all year. ABS Insulating uses the latest technology and products to insulate and seal the envelope of your home, creating a comfortable environment all year long, also extending the life of the air conditioning. Call ABS Insulating today for lasting comfort tomorrow. 704-821-4343 or absinsulating.com.
Carolina Foundation Solutions is a family-owned and operated company and a licensed general contractor in North and South Carolina, providing foundation solutions from the mountains to the sandy shores of the coast. At Carolina Foundation Solutions, our objective is to help educate, offer guidance, and provide assistance. With over 200 years of combined experience, our family of experts are ready to help protect and repair your largest investments. If you have a problem, we have a solution. Call 877-883-4626 or online, carolinafoundationsolutions.com.
Owens Chimney Systems is known for all professional chimney services since 1989, including chimney cleaning, recommended annually, chimney evaluations and inspections, any and all chimney repairs and restorations, gas fireplace and gas fire log service, furnace cleaning, cleaning out one of the most overlooked appliances in the home. Get it done right the first time. That's Owens Chimney Systems at 704-554-9595. Or you can visit us online at owenschimneysystems.com.
Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte, but actually they're Charlotte. You name it. Floor Coverings International. Folks, Floor Covering International serves Southeast Charlotte and the Charlotte metro area as a whole. They've got many design experts trained. They're passionate about what they do and how they do it. And they bring the showroom to you. Mobile floor covering showroom. That's right. Whatever your needs are. But every house, every one I've been in has floor covering. Most of them anyway. There are some concrete floors out there decorated and painted and surfaced beautifully. However, you got carpet, you got vinyl, you got wood, you got laminate, you got tile, you got tremendous amount of floor covering products to select from, depending on what you need, be it an animal, environmental toxins, whatever you need, health, handicap, accessibility, all those things to consider. You need professional help, call Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte, 704-845-3567, bringing their showroom to you. They realize and value your time, your life, your stress levels. They're going to make it easy for you. So give them a call. Regardless of what you need, they'll bring it to you. Go online, Floor Coverings International. Google Floor Coverings International. Southeast Charlotte will come up. Give them a call, 704-845-3567, or just schedule an appointment or a consultation free online. That's floorcoveringsinternational.com.
Have a comment or question for the show? Call us 704-227-8986. That's 704-227-8986. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back. First hour, put tools in schools. We want to talk a little bit about up and coming school year and a few facts that you may or may not know. One thing, I've lived in Charlotte, Mecklenburg my whole life, born and raised here. Born in 1952. Yep, that's it, going on 74 years. In January, I'll be 74 years old, and I'm very lucky to have my health. And that could end up smash, crash, and burn any day. so I live every day like it's my last. Enjoy them. Just grateful and total gratitude for health and wellness. Okay, health is wealth, and we're going to talk a little bit about your health and what you need to do. Think some of the things you need to think about to get healthier. That's hour 2 and 3. But right now, we're going to talk about our up and coming school year. Whether you're homeschooling, public schools, private school, does not matter. We're talking about our students, our kids. The most important things in our lives are our children, are our future. And I love them. Goodness gracious, I'm nothing but a little boy dressed up in man's clothes. Okay? We're all us guys and men are nothing but a bunch of little boys. That's the way I see it.
Pretty much.
Yep. Dressed up like men, trying to behave like a bunch of men, and most of us are crazy as hell. But that's okay. That's the way God made us. We're okay. Just like women, they got their traits too. We got women, we got men, we got masculine, we got feminine, we got mothers, we got fathers. It's made that way, designed that way for a reason. We need the men to step up. We need the industry to step up. And when I say that, Charlotte Mecklenburg schools, there's roughly 142,000 students. Countries of origin, there's 175. Native languages, 146. 34% are Black, 31% are Hispanic, 24% are white, 7% Asian, 4% multicultural, 1% American Indian, and 1% Pacific Islander. That is public schools, Charlotte Mecklenburg, excuse me. And that's just what exists in Charlotte, Mecklenburg. I can't speak for rural. I can't speak for Gaston. I can't speak for Lincoln or Union or Cabarrus or York or any other county. But I can talk about that because that's what I've been born and raised with, and that's what I see. 186 schools, 102 elementary schools, 28 middle, 35 high schools. 35. Wow. And out of the 35 schools,
almost all of them are overcrowded.
Yep. It's busting at the seams. And unfortunately, there are very few programs dealing with the trades, like carpentry 101. There may be 4 programs, if that. Now, my numbers might be off 1 or 2, okay, because it's always trying to change. And for the better, I might add, in some cases. But there's a problem. How do you put the trades in the schools without instructors? How do you get instructors without industry stepping up to be involved? There's part of the problem. Now, why is that? I don't know why. I don't have all the answers. I know that if industry doesn't get involved in the education process, it's not going to change. That's a fact. And we've seen change due to the trades career days that we have put on up to this point. Now, look, I brought all this up in the first hour because it's almost gotten worse in some respects, but it's actually getting better because awareness is elevating. Awareness. What do I mean? Once again, it's all about marketing, image, knowledge, information. And technology is really the only way to get it out in this day and time we live, be it social media and really what is social? What do you call social media, Richton?
Basically any platform that you can interact with other people on.
Be it YouTube or
YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram,
internet,
TikTok. I could go
podcast,
on.
Whatever, never. So really the internet.
Yeah, pretty much.
The interweb, whatever you call it, dialing into the web, right?
Yeah.
So that's a marketing vehicle and the way I see it. And then you got TV, you got mainstream media, right? Which is TV.
Yeah.
And that's your marketing material. Well, if we don't get out and market it and change the image, we're going to keep driving doing the same things we've done, and here we are. And if you don't understand the enormity of this issue, you're not really paying attention in your status quo, and you're just waking up following the sheep.
How would you market the trades personally if you decided?
The way we're doing it?
Okay.
But we can't do it as well as we need to do it. You know why? It takes money.
Money, yeah.
Now, how does it take money when social media basically is free, right? It's not free.
No.
Somebody's got to download it, put it on, edit it, do all the production behind it.
Got
Now
to pay somebody to.
You can't get volunteers to do this work anymore because it takes time. We're all too busy. There's a big problem right there. We're all too busy. Okay. But how would you market it? We're doing it. We're on Sam Matero with Atero Media has done some fantastic work, and we've been teaming together. And that's the whole issue too. If we don't team up and collaborate as an industry, as a collective industry, plumbers, heating and air, electricians, painters, I mean, you name it, drywall, concrete, masonry, all of them, welding. If we don't collaborate and and drive a better marketing tool, marketing effort, we're not going to do it. We're not going to change it. But we are changing it. We're on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah, I've seen you guys had the About Your House Radio on About Your House Radio Facebook,
and
we're
we're about to wrap up the new podcast studio. Almost done. We could use it now, and we're going to start. Our chairs came yesterday. Now, why do I bring that up?
Skippy.
Huh?
Yippee Skippy.
Oh yeah, we're gonna dance the dance, man. But anyway, all right, we got a school year coming up, and we've already had 4 high schools reach out to put tools in schools to have some sort of career day at their school. Lincoln, Gaston County, I think Rowan County. I'd have to check, but and Butler High School reached out.
You gotta see
Awesome, because we've been there before. And and I have to say that a lot of teachers out there want to see change. They want to see these kids happier. They want to see trades introduced. But they're doing what they're told. And I understand. They want their job. I get it. Man, more power to you. Love you for showing up. Give it all to the kids you can. And I love you for it. And it's changing. But some of these CTE, coordinators, career counselors, and what have you, they're plugged into the need. And the ones we've been to, and they've experienced it before, see the value in it. And I got to speak for Precision Plumbing too. Charlie Brown, God bless his soul, he's passed last year. But he's been in the plumbing industry for many, many, many decades and has given so much to the industry through the years with CPCC relationship, partnering with various organizations, and even the Aspire Trade High School up in Huntersville, up off of Beatties Ford Road. I'm going to tell you, Precision Plumbing has been involved in inspiring youth, students all across the Carolinas in plumbing. They've done an incredible job. Charlie started it. Justin down there, the CEO of Precision Plumbing now, Marianne Konopnicki, she's phenomenal, an ex-teacher turned to talent acquisition specialist, workforce development director. We'll call it what you want. And she has been on, she's been on videos. Yeah. She's been on videos telling the success that they've experienced. And what they do is they show up on these trades career days and engage the kids. Now, granted, they're spending the money to do it, but they've had over 500 plumbing applications. It works. And I can go on with other companies that they've seen success with it. But I am not going to chase industry all the time because I can't. I can't do it all. The realization of the reality of life has slapped me upside the face. And I realized I've been doing a lot of things around Put Tools in Schools. Well, last year and the year before, I couldn't have done it without the help of the board of directors. But we don't have enough board of directors to make it work. They're all employed, they're all volunteers, and we're all too busy. And we got a website to keep up with. We got scheduling. We got to answer emails. There's a toolbox learning facility we're working on. Been saying it for 2 years. Nothing's happened. Why? Because a few people can't do it all. These associations out here have workforce development people all in them through membership. Now, what do I mean by that? You got the ABC, Association Building Contractors of Carolinas, AGC. AGC is the Association of General Contractors. Throughout North and South Carolina, there's probably 1,000 to 2,000 members. Then you got NARI. Then you got the Home Builders Association. Then you got NAWIC, National Association of Women in Construction. Now, all these associations have members. They pay dues every year, and they join these associations. They're plumbing, they're heating, they're cooling, they're general contractors, be it commercial, be it residential. They're all in there. Remodeling, all of them's in there. Do you think if we stepped up and helped each other as an industry, we could develop these channels into these schools? And now take it a step further, talking about marketing, media. What if, not what if, we're going to do it. We're already starting to do it. We develop videos, educational videos with industry people, industry throughout, plumbing, heating, electrical, industry people, to explain the opportunities, the pathways in each and every trade. Do a 45-minute show presentation with curriculum attached, so the teachers could show these in schools to kids in a said period classroom, right? Pretty simple. And make them available on our puttoolsinschools.org website to where they could go download them and show these videos to the kids in a classroom. And we're getting into the schools kind of through the back door. Yep. There's a marketing tool. Now, how do we get that distributed? How do we get that out there? We hire or work with a tech specialist in social media and computer optimization. I don't know all that. And there's your big issue. You got to know everything. You can't know everything. Every time you know it, it changes, and then you got to find people in that sector, in that area, in that wheelhouse
that specialize in it,
that do it, that make their living doing it. But this is a tremendous opportunity for collaboration, and that's working. Every time we do it, it works. There's power in numbers, duh, but we become a narcissistic, self-driven, fragmented society that we all wanted ourselves. This ain't about me. I'm just trying to do it before I leave this planet, because there's something has to be done for our kids and the well-being of your home, your life, repairing the light fixtures, your air conditioner, your plumbing, your appliances, paint your house, repair your fascia board, if you know what that is. But I can tell you what it is. We got to teach kids all these things. We need to, for your benefit. Repair, fix, but most of all, have purpose. Serve. That's what God intended for us, truly. That's the reality of what existence is all about. We got to help each other. And those that are chasing the money, hey, there's a lot of money to be made in the trades. A lot. You can go out and make a great living working with your hands and your mind. But we've also got to get industry involved to step up and change some of the regulations and the rules. Like kids 16 can't use power tools. What? That's crazy. Yeah, I know. What if they? We teach. We teach, not fear, but productivity, critical thinking. We teach safety. We teach them how to do it, not run from it as we're doing it. That's what happens. The fear. Well, we can't do that. Why? Because the rules. We need to work with them. We need to work with the rules. I know safety has to be adhered to. I get that. But we need to teach that. Just like we need to teach kids how to change a tire, how to change a car battery. All we're teaching them is how to use a darn smartphone. Google it. And now, the no-brainer for sure is called AI. What in the world are we doing? Common sense? Gone. Critical thinking? Gone. I preach it a lot. I get it. I'm sorry. I hate it. I want kids happy. I want them self-confident. I want them self-assured. I can instead of I can't. Put tools in schools. You want to help? We're going to have a meeting, a brainstorming meeting, and we're going to have it here on Tuesday, I think September 8th. I'm gonna talk about this from here to there because it's going to be that precision plumbing. Like I said, precision plumbing's been tremendously beneficial in raising the awareness, changing the whole image behind plumbing. Done great things, and I'm grateful for that. We're going to be meeting at their office in Matthews that afternoon, or on Google Meets, or the platform of choice, which I'm not sure of, but probably Google Meets. And you can attend that meeting. And if you want to help, help. But here's another issue. Nope, not going to tell you because it's break time. No, that clock's wrong. I did it. I got 2 minutes.
1 minute.
Yeah, 1 minute. Yeah. But here's another issue. Big issue of today. And maybe it's me, but I'm getting the feedback from everybody else. You've heard it right here on this show. A lot of people talk. Oh, God, that's a great idea. Oh, God, that's wonderful. What could I do to help? Show up. Not only show up, do what you said you're going to do. That's a big problem today. People talk. People want to help. They don't show up. They don't do it. It doesn't happen. That has been a tremendous issue. Now, I hadn't been a money chaser. But I'm going to start. I already started. If you want to help with money, go online. PutToolsInSchools.org. Send me some money. $5, $10. We'll hire it done. We don't want volunteers. We're going to hire it done. We'll get reduced rates. We'll develop some partnerships. But we need sponsorships. We need industry to step up. PutToolsInSchools.org. And we need a lot of work done. We're going to talk all about it, and we're going to go forward. I'm not going to give this fight up. Our kids need it. You need it. Everybody needs it. I promise you, make life better. 704-227-8986. Devin Arnett, CDA Environmental. Going to be in the house next hour talking about air quality. Hygienist, if you know what one is. We'll tell you all about it. Tune in. We'll be back with more about your house right here, Fox Sports Charlotte.
Find out more about the show? Go to our Facebook page, About Your House Radio. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
There's big news in the Carolinas. Queen City Audio, Video, and Appliances is now Queen City Home Store. For over 70 years, we've been your trusted retailer for appliances, electronics, and more. Now, we're taking it to the next level with a new name, a fresh look, and more ways to serve you. Offering the same outstanding service you've always counted on, while bringing you everything you need for your home. Queen City Home Store. Same great service, more possibilities. Visit us at queencityonline.com.
This is Tyler White with Crown Town Cannabis. Are you tired of regular, old, boring, gummy cannabis edibles? Well, now, at all Crown Town locations, we are carrying the Whole Damn Bakery. The Whole Damn Bakery is our line of freshly baked, scratch-baked goods made right here in North Carolina and delivered weekly to our locations. We have everything from chocolate chip cookies, oatmeal cream pies, brownies, and other cereal bars that you can come in and check out weekly. Please just ask your bud tender to point you in the direction of the Whole Damn Bakery.
Let's face it, we do not like bugs, and especially spiders and ants. Unwanted pests in the home are not only creepy, they can also spread sickness and cause significant damage to the structural integrity of our homes. Kilo Exterminating has been taking care of pest control problems in the Charlotte area for over 70 years with award-winning customer service. Moisture readings are standard with all crawl space inspection. Call Kilo Exterminating at the first sign of infestation, 704-333-9855, or online at kilo.biz. Again, that's 704-333-9855.
Hi, I'm Sam Attero of AteroMedia.com, and I love empowering my clients and partners to make the most out of today's latest digital media tools. We specialize in building production systems and podcast studios for small to mid-sized churches and local businesses here in Charlotte. Do you need new media production gear? Do you need help learning how to use it? You're in great hands with our family business, Attero Media of Charlotte. That's ETTARO Media.com.
Have a comment or question for the show? Call us 704-227-8986. That's 704-227-8986. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back. Talking put tools in schools here, but Devin Arnett in the house, CDA Environmental. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for letting me in.
I appreciate you. CDA Environmental, they're a hygienist, and we'll talk about that. But I'm going to finish up here with put tools in schools because I need the community. Well, no, I don't. We do. We need the community to step up in all respects. If you know somebody that's retired, somebody that's been connected with the trades and wants to help, like I said, there are ways to help. I haven't even quite grasped the concept of how to ask for help. I know that sounds crazy. Back in the 90s, it was easy. It seems like the camaraderie and the collective was a lot more powerful than it is today. I mean, it just, and I've said this many times, I feel like, is it just me? But no, it's not, because as I talk to industry like Mr. Arnett here, which I'll pop a question or two around this very thing, about issues around hiring people and finding people, finding the tools in personnel that you need. It's gotten harder and harder.
I was listening to you on the way in, and I've actually ran into a problem I didn't foresee happening. So I hired a 18-year-old, right? Got his, sent him to get his certifications and everything, and trained him up for, 6 months before we finally let him loose on projects. Hired a 30-year-old female, first field female I've had, and she's younger looking, but I think she's of 30s, early
Okay.
30s. And I'm getting kickback from clients because they look too young. They feel like they're not competent in what they're doing. And I didn't see that happening. I thought, well, you get them certified, they show them their certification.
See, this exactly, excuse me, I get nuts now. This is exactly what we do as a culture. We give them a piece of paper, but we don't give them the raw skills or the self-confidence or the ability. And what has happened? We've changed an image.
Yeah.
And it ain't good.
So when like I said, when you're on the business aspect of it, I'm trying to look forward into potential issues.
You're helping you're trying to fix it.
I send the young man to Greenville Tech for 2 days of training, right? To get his certification. I had to drive down there, and I didn't know because I rented a hotel room for him on the company. I didn't know that somebody had to be 21 years old and show their ID when they checked in. So I had to ride all the way down to Spartanburg just to get him into the hotel.
See the rules? See how the rules are against us? Everywhere we turn, there's some kind of glitch or requirement or something. Am I right or wrong?
Well, if you're 18 years old and you can join the military, I think you should be able to rent a hotel room. If you have especially if it's a Amex company card.
When are we going to let the kids grow up? When are we going to teach them to be adults? You can't use a tool when you're 16, but you can drive a car. Please help me with this. Where's the common sense there? What in the heck are we doing?
I don't know, but it makes it, because I want to hire these young people and give them a career, right? And, I can't even get them to be able to get into a hotel. So the system isn't making it easy, but I'm going to keep.
Oh no, we're going to keep the fight. We're going to keep on. We're going to keep up with the fight.
Yeah, I'm going to keep plugging away, and they've turned out to be really good employees, right?
And I commend you for it. Thank you, Devin, because this is what we need.
Well, like last time I went to a couple of my my recertification or continuing ed courses that I got to take for like asbestos and lead.
Sure.
The instructor for both of them, because one was at Greenville Tech, the other was at AAA Environmental. They both came up to me after the class. The one, they always try to get me to help them teach. I don't want to do that. But they
hey, you got to start. You realize that, don't you?
Well, I'm doing it for my company.
But yeah,
I know. I'm not talking about classes where I go.
But you're going to. No, I know that you can't. You don't have that kind of time to teach.
Yeah.
But you are teaching.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yes. But they were like, we're not getting any young people in to replenish because when I go there now, I may be on my 20th recertification, and there's people in there that are barely, they're on their 10th or whatever. And quite frankly, they're like, we're not getting new people. And I'm saying, I'm doing my part, right? I've gotten you 3 or 4 people over the last 5 years that were younger, getting them into this industry, right? And giving them a career, because if they say, I always say it, if they want a job, well, go to McDonald's. If you want a career, I can give you a career, right?
Well, let me ask you something on your new career pathways here that you're creating for these youth. Are they interested? I mean, naturally they want a job, but what are you seeing in the youth?
Yeah, they're once they get a clear understanding of what's going on, which takes a couple months, right?
Of course it does.
We gotta.
It's not what you do is not something that anybody knows about, or oh yeah, I'm going to be a hygienist.
Yeah, and it's such a small.
Yeah.
It's such a small
segment,
it's such a small area, right? And I run into the same people all the time. But I'm encouraged. I think they're going to do great jobs, and they are doing great jobs, and I think they're going to.
How'd you find them?
Indeed, word of mouth.
Best way you can.
Yeah, I mean, 'cause we interview, of course. And,
Sure.
Brandon, you've met him before. He's my operations
Sure.
guy. I let him sift through all the people, and then tell me who he thinks, and then I'll interview him, and we get them going, because we got to sink quite a bit of money into their training.
I understand
and
that.
I laugh because the first one they get's that CMI, that Certified Mold Inspector course, because you can do that online, right? And they always say, "Man, I made a 96 on my exam. I'm ready." I'm like, "No,
You don't know squat.
you know just enough to get somebody sick or us sued." so you're gonna ghost us and
But
or
Devin,
mirror us and go from there.
you're a prime example of what I've preached. You never learn it until you apply it.
Exactly.
And I don't care what career pathway you go down. I don't care. Doesn't matter. It does not matter. You will never learn it until you apply it.
Yeah.
Because you got to screw up to learn, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that's part of the process. We all go through it, but we've got to give our kids that opportunity. And if we don't, it's on us.
And I think there's a little bit of different mentality over the years now with the younger ones. They don't want to fail, for first off.
Nobody does.
But they're more scared than I think me and the former generation for me, because I had somebody ask me one time, I was changing a garbage disposal in my house.
Sure.
And somebody new that I met was there when I was doing it. And they're like, "How'd you learn to do that?" I went, "What do you mean? Did somebody teach you how to do that?" I'm like, "No, I looked at how I took it apart and put it right back the same way." But they're not doing that, right?
Bingo. It's, I was talking about put tools because what we're doing for these trades career days. No matter what event I go to, I used to didn't set a table up, okay, because I was, kind of commandeering the guests, the participants, be it plumber, HVAC, the companies that showed up and participated.
Mm-hmm.
But that got so slam or scarce, that I wanted more to show the kids. So I said, "Oh, well, let's just bring a table, set it up, put a tablecloth on it, look the part, and just put some tools on the table."
Yeah.
Just put some tools. One end's 10 DeWalt power tools, 20-volt battery tools.
Mm-hmm.
The other end's hand tools, and in the middle I got a little wood. And what the wood is for, to test them, see if they can use a measuring tape. But just by virtue of having those tools on the table, it's a magnet to kids because they don't see tools.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people say that, like, just can't read a tape measure.
Now, I'm not surprised at all, because 90%, and I preached it now, 90% of the kids in high school cannot read a tape measure. They can't, nor can some of the teachers read a tape measure.
And you'd be surprised how many homeowners think that the air conditioning goes out of the house and through the compressor and back into the house.
I know.
And I'm just like, that's not how it works.
And a lot of people say, "Why do I need to know it?" Because you live there. There's common sense 101. Like you said about the disposer. All you've got to know is how to use some tools. Well, I never used tools.
And you got to have the tools.
Then but to use them, you got to have them. Exactly. Yeah. And then when you get them, what are they and how are you going to use them? All those things. But Lord of mercy, look at what you achieve when you do it. A friend of mine called me, female, called me, "Ray, you've been proud of me last night." And I knew she had fixed something. So she had to tell me the story about how she fixed it. And, and I don't take credit for this, but she said until she met me, she wouldn't touch a tool. But because I've, motivated and inspired her to fail, if nothing else, mess up. Call me. I'll come help you fix it, but you won't. And now you got technology on your side with FaceTime. You can FaceTime, and I can assist you right there using your phone.
And YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Oh.
Amazing.
There's
YouTube
so much
University.
out there. Yep.
And you watch 5, and you'll get it right, because 2 or 3 of them ain't going to be worth spit, the videos.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, I've watched enough of them, and I've done a few myself. So,
whatever algorithms they use to place them ones higher than others isn't what I'm looking for mostly. I need to find somebody further down.
That's right. Devin Arnett, CDA Environmental in the house. You're listening to About Your House on Fox Sports Charlotte. We're going to talk about stuff. Come on back. We'll all figure it out together.
Grab another cup of coffee and join us for Hour 2. Devin Arnett of CDA Environmental talking air quality, what you need to know and what you need to look out for. Also going to be talking a little bit about his journey and how he got to where he is today. About Your House is brought to you in part by PutToolsInSchools.org, connecting students to tools of the trades and raising awareness of the many career pathways. Also brought to you in part by Queen City Home Store. Queen City Home Store is a family-owned store serving the Carolinas for over 70 years. They're the largest independent appliance retailer in the Carolinas, constantly growing and taking pride in the experience that they offer customers with a knowledgeable sales staff, product selection, and lowest price guarantee. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some time with us. And now, here's your host, Ray Terry.
All right, welcome back. Let me end some Put Tools in Schools talk here. This year's school year's cranking up. We want to help. and I say we, put tools in schools, but we can't do it. We can't do it without people, without industry, without volunteers, without industry stepping up, without industry people stepping up to do certain tasks, because it's enormous. We want to get in front of kids. We want to engage them, show them the career pathways and opportunities that are available outside the college pathway. And they're plentiful. They're great. You can make a great, lucrative life ahead of you. But let's forget the money. You can also be happy and serve purpose and have your own, be self-employed. Freedom. Make job security. Get anything you want. It's all there. But due to our image, it's been considered less than. It's less than. Well, it's not. And we need to change that. Let's do it. Go to puttoolsinschools.org. You can volunteer. You can sign up to have a career day if you're an educator. Now, I know we've got some glitches in here and there in the website, but we're going to fix that. Like I said, we're working on the problems, and we do have issues, just like any organization. We got growing pains, but we need your help to overcome our pains. Does it make sense?
Oh, yeah.
It takes a village. That's puttoolsinschools.org. And I will, from this point forward, keep you abreast of what we're doing. But I can't do it all, nor am I going to try anymore.
I hear you.
I got a 4,000 square foot building over there in North Charlotte. We're going to make a connector space. We'll have classes in it down the road to teach drywall, painting, electrical, cooking, podcasting, media, communication, automotive, general home repair, general maintenance. The tools will be in the building. Carpentry, electrical, plumbing, welding. But we're not teaching courses in particular trades. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We're getting you familiar with the trade. You come in, that's electrical. You come in, that's plumbing. These are the tools for plumbing. Try this, try that, try this. You want to make something with wood? Okay.
Yeah, just a general overview of all that stuff, even if that's not what your career is, just being able to save yourself money at the house.
Just knowing what the tools are. Exactly.
Yeah,
But,
like I was saying, somebody told me the other day that it was $300 to change a garbage disposal, not counting the cost of the garbage disposal.
I know. And you can do it in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yep.
I could change a disposer out in less than 30 minutes. Right?
Yep. You're correct.
And it takes minimal tools.
Yep. Yeah, it just takes a little.
And if you watch 2 or 3 YouTube videos, they're that simple. You can do it.
Yep.
Unless you got water stuck in it and can't get it out. Then you got a mess. You got to get a bigger bucket.
Yep. You got to need a bucket.
And bucket's going to catch all the water that won't come out, because when you release something, it's going to fall out. It's going to come out of there.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a way. And there's another thing you can do on home repairs. You can call somebody.
Oh, yeah.
You're one of those guys. Devin Arnett here, he'll talk to you. CDA Environmental, he'll even talk you out of a problem if you don't have one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? I have learned something, and I, can't teach an old dog new tricks in my butt. For years there, and it was mostly during COVID where this happened. I would try to talk people out of what I didn't think they needed.
Sure.
Right. And sometimes they would argue with me, no, I want the more extensive. And I figured out, well, at this point, they're just paying for peace of mind.
Exactly.
Because I didn't want to do a service for somebody that I didn't feel in my heart they needed.
Right.
That's thievery as far as I'm concerned, or at least taking advantage of somebody. Not good business practice. But
yet that's a major business model.
Yeah.
Of today.
Yep.
Is it not?
Yeah. I mean, so it for me, ethically, morally, I feel fine if I can tell them you're doing this for a peace of mind right now, not because I'm telling you need to do this more extensive testing.
Sure.
Right. And as long as they're okay with it. And 9 times out of 10, I was correct. They didn't need it. But it's their money, their house, their building, their commercial building, whatever it is. I'm on board if you're on board.
Right. I get it. Believe me. You know, I try to educate people. I got a call last week. Somebody called me and told me they wanted an oven installed. Okay, fine. Up in Oakboro, which I got to drive to Oakboro. I don't care. Okay. But I ain't going to drive but once.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go up there twice, you know, because it's going to cost you. I ain't coming but once.
Yep.
So send me a picture. Send me the make and model number. Okay, they did. They were putting a 30-inch oven in a 27-inch hole. That ain't going to work, is it?
No.
Won't work. It just won't. You can't work. 27-inch oven is a 25.5-inch wide hole. 30-inch oven's a 28.5-inch wide hole. Count them up. That's 3 inches. Okay.
Yep.
And then I called them up and told them, I said, well, can't you cut the cabinet out to make it work between two? Yeah, you can, but I'm not. I'm not going to do it. But anyway, and finally I told him, I said, look, if you do this is easy. You're making it much harder and complicated. Now, if you're really wanting a wider oven, I can understand. She said, oh, no, I really don't need that wider. Bottom line, they didn't know what they needed, but they do now.
Where'd they get the oven from?
They called some dealer. I'm not going to say the name, but they called
the manufacturer.
Appliance sales retailer.
Oh, okay.
You know, but I got them straight. My point was the communication that you do and I do are the most important thing we do.
Yep. And I tell you, because I have a bunch of people now approaching me about using AI for some of our stuff, and
what do you think about that?
I haven't seen an application for it for me yet. It's coming though, I imagine. Like I would love to have and they got a modified version of it, but a robot that'll just like a Roomba looking thing that'll go and do the footprint of the house for me while I'm doing my job.
Right.
So I don't have to take time to do that.
Sure.
Can be really time consuming when you I did one day for yesterday, 7,000 square foot home, you know, all cut up, all, you know, secret.
What did you do? I might ask, just to tell people what you did.
Moisture. That was a moisture intrusion and mold project. All right. They had 3 big package units.
So they called. Can you start from the beginning on it?
Yeah,
great example.
So this is a buddy.
Listen up. This is an example of what CDA Environmental does.
This is a buddy of mine. He calls me up and he goes, "Hey, you know, we had a new system and one of our systems was replaced."
How old a house, if you don't mind?
I would say 20, 25 years old.
Okay.
7,000
around
square
2,000 up. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Built.
it's a house.
Okay.
And come to find out, between the time, because this was in Virginia. You know, I don't usually go all the way up to Abington.
Well,
it's my
Abington,
friend.
I know where you're at.
It's my friend. So I went up there and
up above Galax.
I get there and because we had talked about everything we needed to talk about before I got there. But when he got there, he goes, "You just missed the HVAC contractor." I'm like, "Really?" I said, "What do you say?" He goes, "Somebody turned off a whole home dehumidifier that they had." You know, so when you see sporadic mold growth, like on furniture or clothing, leather goods, old antique furniture, like you see it sporadically like that, that's a humidity issue, you know? And so
what a great week to talk about this, but keep talking.
Yeah. So, you know, it was just that. It was sporadic mold growth here, there, and everywhere. And, you know, one of the things I found was, and I see it. So in these higher end houses with these nice hardwood floors, they like to put these wood, you know, HVAC supply vent covers that sit.
Yeah, that sit flush. They're right? Rabbited in.
That's organic material, bud. You know, if at certain times of year, I don't care what house you're in, this time of year, if it's on, let's say, a 3rd floor, right, or a 2nd floor, you're going to get some condensation
or a humid crawl space.
And yeah, and that, you know, luckily they just had basement on this one, but they, you know, every single one of those now on the 1st floor had mold in them, right? And mold in a kitchen cabinet, a square foot of it isn't that big a deal. Really hard for it to impact the air because it's in a cabinet, right? Now you throw a little bit of mold growth on a HVAC supply vent or multiple ones that you're blowing air past the whole time. Now that's, you know, and, you know, we had some people in there that had immune suppressant issues and severe allergies and stuff. So, you know, you got to take that into consideration as well.
Let's take last week and think about last week. Wednesday, I believe it was Wednesday, you walked outside. You felt it.
Mhm.
Probably the humidity was the worst day of this summer. Last Wednesday. Would you
This
agree?
past Wednesday?
Yeah, it's past
Okay,
Wednesday.
yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, that was hot. I mean, it was warm.
Probably
And
one of the
humid.
most humid, wet, yucky, muggy days that we've experienced yet this year.
Mhm.
You know, that day I saw more water on glass. Every house I went to, the glass, the windows were covered with water. The tea glass principle.
Yeah.
At its finest.
Yep.
Now, what that's telling me is you talking about mold scenarios, perfect storm, right?
Yep.
This past week was the perfect storm. I had a guy call me yesterday, and I knew this would come up because of last week. And he says, Ray, I got an issue I wanted to run by you. I listen to you every Saturday and blah, blah, blah. Okay. He says, there's water and some mold growing around my registers, my heat registers, especially in my bathrooms. I said, yep. He says, could it be that hot air and cold air and the air from the attic? I says, not only could be, that's exactly what it is.
Yep.
You figured it out. It's Science 101, hot air, cold air, and then you add all this humidity to it, like Wednesday. Even though the temperature was, 90 degrees or 91 low,
Mhm.
it wasn't that hot. When I say that hot, pushing 100 like we've had. But yet humidity was so high, your attic temp was 120, 130, 140, maybe.
Yeah.
Then you add all that muggy air to it, and every one of the bath vents he talked about were exposed to the attic. We're in the ceiling.
And the science behind it, real simple. If this bottle will condensate at this temperature in the room, right? That ambient temperature, because of the humidities at this particular spot. If you raise the humidity, the point at which this is going to sweat is going to get closer to the ambient temperature.
And that's the dew point.
Yep.
Now we've talked a lot about the dew point over the years. If you get up in the morning, you look at the dew point, it tells you how much water's on the grass.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I
You
mean,
got it.
It's just science, but you learn it and you'll know what kind of day you're going to have outside.
Yeah, and if you don't have a $20 humidity gauge in your house on each floor, I don't know what you're doing.
You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what comfort is until you know what your humidity is.
Well, that, and you just anytime, because HVAC is part of that system, part of its job is to take that humidity out.
Right.
So if you always see, well, it's keeping me below 50, it's keeping me below 50, and all of a sudden one day it's at 70, now you know there's a problem.
You got a problem. Why?
And it's an easy, cheap way to monitor the efficiency of your HVAC systems.
And comfort.
Yeah.
Exactly. 704-227-8986. Do you have a question about, well, we're going to come back and we'll plow into what CDA Environmental does. We're going to talk a lot about mold, which we've already put on the table. Mold doesn't have to be unhealthy. You'll find out more when we get back. 704-227-8986. You're listening to About Your House, Devin Arnett, CDA Environmental. We'll be back.
Out more about the show? Go to our Facebook page, About Your House Radio. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Mike Libretto here, owner of Libretto's Pizzeria and Spinello's Pizza. I opened my first pizzeria in New York City in 2004. Not long after that, I took my passion to Charlotte, North Carolina. serving up a taste of New York City with great pizzas and authentic Italian cuisine. Come in, relax, and enjoy Libretto's Pizzeria, located off Johnson Road in the Ballantyne area. Libretto's is also home of the famous Spinello's Pizza, a 10-inch infused frozen pizza, offered in both pepperoni and plain cheese. Visit SpinellosPizza.com for more information, to find a retailer near you, or just to order for pickup at the restaurant. Libretto's Pizzeria is open 7 days a week, a great place to relax, dine in, take out, delivery, or for catering. Visit us online at Libretto'sPizzeria.com. Call us at 704-714-1442 for the best in New York pizza and Italian cuisine. That's Libretto's Pizzeria. Stop in and become part of the family.
Summer heat is here, along with the humidity. Will your air conditioner provide the comfort needed? ABS Insulating can provide the resources to give you comfort this summer and all year. ABS Insulating uses the latest technology and products to insulate and seal the envelope of your home, creating a comfortable environment all year long, also extending the life of the air conditioning. Call ABS Insulating today for lasting comfort tomorrow. 704-821-4343 or absinsulating.com.
There's big news in the Carolinas. Queen City Audio, Video, and Appliances is now Queen City Home Store. For over 70 years, we've been your trusted retailer for appliances, electronics, and more. Now, we're taking it to the next level with a new name, a fresh look, and more ways to serve you, offering the same outstanding service you've always counted on, while bringing you everything you need for your home. Queen City Home Store. Same great service, more possibilities. Visit us at queencityonline.com.
Let's face it, we do not like bugs and especially spiders and ants. Unwanted pests in the home are not only creepy, they can also spread sickness and cause significant damage to the structural integrity of our homes. Kilo Exterminating has been taking care of pest control problems in the Charlotte area for over 70 years with award-winning customer service. Moisture readings are standard with all crawl space inspection. Call Kilo Exterminating at the first sign of infestation, 704-333-9855, or online at kilo.biz. Again, that's 704-333-9855.
Have a comment or question for the show? Call us 704-227-8986. That's 704-227-8986. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back. Richard's on the phone answering the call. So, got Devin Arnett, CDA Environmental. We're talking about a 7,000 square foot house you were called out for. What was the problem that he was concerned about?
Both him, the wife, and their child were having congestion, headaches, and they thought that an area was wet and thought that maybe they had a mold problem and just wanted to
check it out
and just, mark it off the list if it, was. So, when I first looked into those registers, I was like, oh, no. Because when you're blowing air past it, to get those mycotoxins and the spores in the air is pretty easy. It doesn't take a whole lot to affect the whole floor. And what was funny was on that same floor, there were two vent covers that were metal,
Yeah.
not a problem with. No mold, no buildup, no nothing.
So those wooden heat registers, floors, red oak typically is what you find, that are organic material, very porous, and they just grow mold.
Yeah, well, so you add humidity. Now you got the organic source.
Well, let's cover the basics real quick here. You're not going to have mold without humidity.
Or some sort of moisture source.
You've got to have moisture because mold is a living, breathing organism.
Oh, yeah. And it does. And the species vary from very arid species that don't need much water. They can survive on humidity. You see a lot of those in crawl spaces, right?
Sure.
Aspergillus, penicilliums, the basidiospores, cladosporiums, they show up there pretty regularly. And then you got the more hydrophytic that need lots of water, like the quote unquote stachyboxters.
Right.
That's what you would associate with a long-term leak or flooding or something like that, where
A
you have
lot of water.
super inundation. And the thing about it is it's aggressive. So if whatever mold is in the air starts growing first, and along comes a stacky, it'll grow over and eat the other mold, to where you come back 3 months later after Hurricane Katrina incident, and that's all that's there. No other molds there. Or
So
at
it
least
just
not a
kind of
whole
takes
lot.
over.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But once again, there are many, how many different kind of molds?
150,000 plus.
See, so, to say you have mold, don't throw up your hand and say, oh, no, because it might not be that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Then on the other hand, you don't know until you have it tested.
Yes, sir.
That's the way it is, because a lot of people through the years have called me and said, Ray, I've got mold. And they'll start tearing their house down. Not literally, but,
tearing stuff up.
Start tearing it up. I said, don't tear up until you get it inspected.
Yeah.
Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, because the quick tutorial, right? You need to think of mold 3 different ways. Mold is growing on something, which if you can access it, you can see it with the naked eye, right? But then you have mold that is emanating from that in the form of the spores, the mycotoxins, and the little mycelia fragments of them that just fly around the air. That's what gets people sick, right? Because they're not over there eating the mold. They're not rolling around in it and licking it. It's what's coming from that's the problem. And then the third way to think about it is what's landed on things. Not grown on it. It's just what was in the air, and now it's landed on things. So the remediation has got to be done the same way. So if you go in and you try to just remove what you can visually see, one, you're going to agitate it, and it's going to try to survive, and it's going to release everything it can right then, right? And run those spore counts and mycotoxin counts through the roof, right? So it's better to, at the very least, if you're going to do it on your own, poly around it, tape it, get some painter's tape, poly around, then cut it out. But then again, you don't know what's on the back side of that either, so you open it up. If it's on the front side, because it grows easier on the back side, right? But on the humidity issue, it might not be back there because it's just growing superficially on the inside of the drywall or plaster or whatever's there, But yeah, it's good to know what you're getting into, and you can make yourself. You can make the problem worse. Is basically if you don't
you can make a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah, because what you can physically see is cleaned. What's in the air is just taken out with big giant air scrubbers, and then everything else all is just wiped down or HEPA vacuumed.
Got it. Well, let's go to the phones and talk to Mike up in Lincoln. Good morning, sir. How are you today, Mr. Ross?
Hello there. How are you doing, Ray?
I'm great. Thank you, sir. Hope you're doing well.
It's good. Okay. Hold on just a second. I was listening to you on Facebook and on the app, and I got 2 audios coming in. I think I can kill it here.
All right, sir. It won't work when you want it to. Technology is that way. You push a button and it won't stop.
Let me call you back. I'm hearing 2 different audios at the same time.
Well, it's all going to come and garble as long as you're on 3 different platforms. Okay, bye. Okay, back to the registers. We'll stick to the mold because what's the number one call you get? Number one concern?
Just indoor air quality altogether, right?
Around health and
yeah. So to cover the whole gambit, right? So when you're talking about because people call me up and go, I want to check my indoor air quality, and the first thing I go is, that's a pretty broad spectrum. If we did our complete assessment that we do on a regular basis, the higher echelon, it's mold, radon, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, relative humidity, dew point, but more importantly, volatile organic compounds, particulates, hydrogen sulfide, sulfur dioxide, ozone, and ammonia. But that's for people who've been hospitalized, or they have immune suppressant issues like lupus or Lyme's disease or something like that. And what they're wanting is a baseline of their air to then take to their specialist doctors and go, okay, well, go back to him and say you want this lowered. So like, let's say somebody has COPD. I'm going to look at that report, and if it's not a red flag that these particulates are at this, because they're higher outside in my mind, and they're not coming near any OSHA personal exposure limits, right? But the doctor may look at that and go, well, you have a special need here. Let's go talk to him about doing some filtration devices and finding somebody who can install those for you to lower those triggers.
Gotcha.
You know?
Gotcha. Well, a lot of people, like I say, over the years have called me and said, I got mold. Well, I sold them to you
Yes,
because
sir.
it's just like your water. You get buying a whole house water filtration system. What for? What do you mean? Filter water, make cleaner. For what? They said, what do you mean? Well, what are you filtering out of the water? I mean, why is the water dirty? What's in the water to make it dirty and contaminated or whatever?
Did you test beforehand and then after?
Bottom line is, did you test your water? Well, no, they said. Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
they said, who is they?
The people selling it.
People selling the system. All right, let's go to the phone and see what Mike's got. Good morning again, sir. Hey, Mike.
Hello, how are you doing, Mr. Ray?
I'm doing good. Hope you are.
Yeah, I sure am.
What can we help you with, sir?
Well, I'm still having the double audio coming in. I'll try to talk over it.
Just turn it off is the best thing. Let's talk one-on-one. That would be best. Because that's like riding down the road, listening to the radio, and they do not sync, okay?
Yeah. I'm just not sure. I hate this because I'm not sure
I hate
where
it too.
It's coming from.
Well,
here you go. I'll give it a shot. I texted you several pictures a few minutes ago. Have you gotten them?
I'm going to go there right now and see. Yes, I do, sir. Oh, yeah, I see the mold.
Yeah. Well, that's pictures my sister sent to me a couple of days ago. She has several rental dwellings, and this is one of them. And her tenant has just advised her in the last several days of that mold. And she was talking to me about it. And I was trying to tell her about a man, I couldn't remember his name, that you've had on the show before. And lo and behold, he's in there in the studio today.
Yes, he is.
Serendipity.
Yeah.
Well,
and yeah. By the way, what I'm hearing, Ray, this audio is a sports show, so I'm wondering.
Yeah, I know. What's causing that, Richton? Do we know? Override? We don't. Okay.
I don't have anything.
Yeah, Fox Sports is overriding it on your input.
Yeah,
that's technology. And I'm sorry, I hate it. But you want me to address? You want me to address what I see in that picture?
Yes, and what Devin might, with his knowledge, might be able to look at it and go, "Oh, that's harmless," or "No, it's the opposite. It's terrible mold." And what should she do? And by the way, I believe she's listening on Facebook.
Okay, we'll cover it.
Yeah, I mean, at first glance,
right. Very good.
Let's get this out of the way first. One thing we don't do is tell you whether it's safe or not safe, right? That's not my job. My job is to tell if you have an active mold growth problem that's impacting your air, your individual sensitivity is going to be, leave that to the doctors. I'm a biologist. I don't play doctor. But from what I'm looking here, it looks like you may have a negative pressure issue that's pulling air from around these areas and causing some condensation issues. Yeah, it's just pulling. There's no staining on that underneath that column, or that support there, or whatever that is. But it's coming through, and there's probably an opening to an attic space or some space above there, and that's causing that. So when you get a report from us, basically it's gonna say, hey, either you have a problem or you don't. If you do, here's how bad it is or how bad it's not health wise, but as far as mold growth and impact to the inside air, what to do, what the moisture source appears to be, and most importantly, what to do about it. And that's what you'd give a third party to come in and remediate. That's what's good about our company, whether we're doing asbestos, lead, mold, radon, whatever it is we're doing. We don't have any conflict of interest as a company. Whatever we find is whatever we find.
Let me throw some facts out here, though. This is an older home. How do I know that? Well, the paneling tells me it's probably a 70s house, 60s, late 60s, 70s house, built in that era. Okay, it was built in an era. Now, it's a rental house. I think you told me that, or maybe not. It doesn't really matter. But here's a great example of attics, issues around attic space. If you've got let's use last week as a great example. Last week's humidity was so astronomically high that last week when you turned your air conditioner on and you have negative pressure, like you said, you're going to pull attic air into your house every time your central unit comes on.
Yes, sir.
Every time.
Well, people look at it this way. All ductwork leaks in Mecklenburg County, if you're doing code, you're allowed 6%, 3% for Energy Star, right? Well, if you have an older home, you're nowhere near that. Right?
Probably around 30%.
And you got supply coming in and you got return, right? The return, there's usually not as much areas for leakage around connection points for the return side. And you have a ton more connections and a ton more supply, right? So now that supply that's coming out of there is going into attic or crawl space or whatever. So that's putting the house under natural negative pressure. You already have the stack effect that does the same thing.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean,
and that's caused by hot air and cold air.
Yeah, and that might not have happened had humidity not been so high.
And there's another issue it might be.
Because that doesn't appear to be a leak.
No, it doesn't appear to be a leak, because if it was, it'd be more extensive.
Yeah, and like bubbly.
Exactly. You'd see more manifestation of damage, more damage. However, it wouldn't hurt to check your roof collars.
But no matter what you do, if you get testing done on this, do it with the intention of taking those results to the doctor, whoever may be having any potential issues with it, and let them look at it, because their eyes on it are different than mine, right? When I'm looking at it, I can assess the air within the building and the building itself, not your individual sensitivity.
You also test the air coming out of the duct, out of the system, correct?
Don't have to. It's the same air.
Okay, that's why I've talked about it. Is that? Oh, that's your.
I turned this off. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Happens.
I turned it off before I came in here.
I love your ringer. So you say it's the same air. Your air quality is your air quality.
Yeah, because people ask me often, they go, "Are you going to test the inside of the ductwork?" I'm like, "No, it's the same air. All you're doing is taking." I mean, the basics is a system's supposed to take 70-degree air and make it 72 during winter, and 72-degree air make it 70 or somewhere around in there during winter, right? So if it's supposed to be a closed system, right? It does leak, of course. All of it leaks a little bit, and that's fine. That's not a problem 99% of the time. But I mean, if it leaks significantly, that's a problem,
right? Older homes will manifest more issues around mold and mildew than the newer homes because they leak more.
Yes.
Now, we talk a lot about air sealing. We have talked a lot about air sealing. You can call ABS Insulating and ask them for an air seal quote, and they can minimize this air exchange by putting an air seal program in your attic.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is they literally go around and seal all the cracks and the crevices that you have air exchange. Every electrical box in the ceiling. For example, Mike, if you're listening, there's a space between the drywall and the paneling where the paneling goes up vertically,
mm-hmm.
and the drywall butts to it. Well, it doesn't always butt to it, and there's a crack there. That crack is open to the insulation of the attic and the air in the attic. And then you're covering it with a piece of crown mold.
Yep. And if you could caulk it, you could still, put some other, but people don't, because it doesn't look right.
And plus it won't look good. And then you've got a maintenance issue because the crown mold shrinks and expands with the weather.
Yep.
And cracks.
Yes, sir.
Every time. And so therefore you've got an air leak, but under that crown mold.
Yeah. But the test that you do for ductwork is called a duct blaster, and that just quantifies the leakage of that ductwork, right?
Right.
And Mike was still on the phone. I would ask him, is it clammy in there? Because 72-degree temperature at 50% humidity feels really good. 72%, 72-degree inside air with 70% humidity is not comfortable. It's
not comfortable
clampy
at all. Matter of fact, you can go in the house and tell it if you're just paying attention.
Because it is the humidity. Because this is something that's just happened and they've been there for a long time. Well, what's changed? Well, humidity's kicking outside, but it's kicked over the years just like this before. It's not, nothing brand new, but it may be that the system's just not working as good as it did. It's not as efficient, and it's not getting that humidity out enough. Or they could have put a new unit in there and it's short cycling, and it's just heating and cooling so fast that it doesn't have a chance to get that humidity out.
And there's a reason when you say a new unit, we've talked about this a lot in the past couple of weeks. The new units have variable speed fans.
Mhm.
And you can adjust those fans to slow down or speed up. And they need to be slower than faster. A lot of people think you need to speed it up to get it cooler faster. Wrong.
Yeah, but I don't know what your experience is, but my experience is those are really only the high end.
Oh, I agree.
You know?
You pay more for the variable speed.
Yeah.
But you need to invest the money in that system because it's going to remove more of the humidity.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're slowing the airspeed down, therefore taking it across your evaporator coil at a slower speed, eliminating more of the humidity.
And the structural aspects of it as well. Not just mold, but like buckling your hardwoods and all the other stuff that comes with having high humidity inside a structure.
Right. And you can walk in a house yourself with a crawl space and the floor being wood. You can tell. There are telltale signs.
Yep. I mean, the builders, a lot of times when it's, enclosed in and the HVAC is running, they will take that hardwood floor and put it in there for 2 weeks. Let it get used
acclimate
to humidity. Before they even put it on there.
And they should.
Yeah.
That's recommended by manufacturers.
Mhm.
And if you don't do it, they may void your warranty.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
because it will expand and contract. But that waterproofing or that vapor membrane, that helps too. If they make sure they put that in as well.
Exactly. Well, and one more thing, I'm gonna just throw this out here. We talk about encapsulated crawl spaces, and I'm gonna ask you directly: Have you seen encapsulated crawl spaces with issues?
Yes, I'm not a fan of complete encapsulation. Right. Sometimes if it's a big enough thing, a big enough crawl space, and you want to use it for storage, right? Then put a dehumidifier down there. But what I don't like seeing is we were just talking about pressure differentials, right? I see them take and they'll just cut a hole in the duct system on the supply side and put a vent there
under the crawl.
In an encapsulated crawl space
to condition that space.
Yeah. Well, what you're doing now is if it is a complete encapsulated, and you're negative pressurizing even more the first floor. So if you don't have, if all the penetrations aren't, because a lot of times they'll have odors from it. Because when you put that stuff in there from the beginning, there's some VOCs that are off gassing from there, and some people don't like that. Some people think, and
it smells like urine, cat urine. Sometimes I've seen 4, 5, 6 crawl spaces where there was a terrible urine smell.
Yeah, I don't mind the partial. I like the partial where they'll put in a better vapor barrier, seal at the overlaps, and run at least 12 inches up on the piers and foundation and seal them.
Right.
Those are great, right? Because I still think a house needs to breathe. Your vents are there for a reason.
I have never been, and I'm going to just say it from my point of view only, just you take it for what it's worth. When the encapsulated crawl spaces hit the market, I saw cash cow written all over them. I saw fear escalate like crazy around mold encapsulated crawl spaces. I've seen more issues from encapsulated crawl spaces than the other side dealt with correctly. They came on the market as the silver bullet, the answer to all the issues.
Yeah.
And you've seen, and I've seen too, that is not the case. And I've seen companies go in there and sell a $15,000 to $20,000 encapsulated crawl space and never address the water intrusion, never address the problem that existed to create the water in the crawl space to start with.
Yep.
You've seen it too, haven't you?
And the thing about it is, there's only a handful of fixes for that, right? And so, for property transactions, if somebody's buying a piece of property, you can start with just one, but you're going to have to get them all before you buy the house. Whereas if you live there already, you can start with one fix and see if that works before you move to a dehumidifier or a sump pump or whatever else.
Right. Well, I tell people this, then we got to take a break. It didn't happen overnight, and you shouldn't try to fix it overnight. And that's exactly what you do. Someone comes in, says you have a problem, attacks your fear and your emotions, and you react to it. And a lot of times your reaction costs you a bunch of money, and that is not the avenue of approach.
No, sir.
Because that is, your house is 30 years old and it happened over 30 years, but you're going to fix it with one check? No, don't work like that, does it?
No, sir.
I can only speak from my experience, and you got quite a bit of it yourself.
Working on 25 right now.
There you go. 704-227-8986. You're listening to About Your House. CDA Environmental is in the house. And we're going to talk more when we return. That's Devin Arnett. We'll be back. Hey, folks, let's talk Floor Coverings International. Yep, Southeast Charlotte. But, it doesn't matter whether you're in Southeast Charlotte, Belmont, Mount Holly, Cabarrus County, Lincoln County, Rowan County, doesn't matter. Southeast Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte will take care of any need you got, be it floor covering, be it laminate, LVP, that's luxury vinyl plank. You name it, they'll cover it. And they bring it to you in their mobile showrooms. They got 4 or 5 of those rascals with great people, personnel to come out there and help you with any floor covering issue you may have. You don't know what you want? They'll help you through it. Give them a call, or better yet, visit the website. That's Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte at 704-845-3567. And, hey, they'll take care of whatever you need. If it's floor covering, they got you covered. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, and the wonderful, beautiful product, LVP. Matter of fact, Floor Coverings International, many years ago on the program here at About Your House, introduced me to LVP, luxury vinyl plank. I knew right then there's a product that's going to sweep the market and change the floors as we know it. Sure enough, it has. Call them up. That's Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte, 704-845-3567. Online, schedule you an appointment right there online. Don't have to call them. Do it right there. It's floorcoveringsinternational.com. All right, welcome back. Devin Arnett, CDA Environmental, is in the house. Give him a call or at 704-661-7938. Is that your cell?
Yes, sir.
Thought so. Look familiar. 704-661-7938 or CDAenvironmental.com. CDA, what's that stand for?
I'm going to date myself here. When I first started this company, I still had to keep yellow pages in mind. So you either needed to be A, B, or C. My first name's Curtis. I go by Devin. So it's Curtis Devin Arnett. So I just said CDA Environmental.
I got you. Always a story behind the name. Always. But that's CDAenvironmental.com. And what all do you test for? I pulled up services. I went to the website.
Yeah, so we do environmental site assessments for property transactions, as well as all kinds of indoor air quality, radon, mold, lead, asbestos, VOCs, all those things I mentioned earlier that and you can a la carte, because now we're doing surface testing for fentanyl, we're doing surface testing for meth, in impact, rated facilities, right? So, we run into these new things that we have to, offer service that nobody really has or nobody's really figured out yet.
Fentanyl's gotten that bad.
Well, it's like if let's say you have somebody who's had some sort of extended stay and they get raided and the cops see some white substance, they're going to evacuate, leave it alone, and then hire us or somebody to go in there and test to see if that's what it is, and then, if so, then the cleanup's got to, it's different. It ain't gonna be the the cleaners at the extended stay or wherever. It's going to be a specialty organization that comes in there and knows what they're doing and does the proper PPE and, takes care of themselves. But yeah, I mean, it's a worry more than prevalent, right? We haven't seen a whole lot of it in the testing, but they just sort of got to make sure.
Gotcha.
It's the meth stuff's real easy, but that fentanyl is very, very deadly.
Yeah, it's gotten a little crazy. So it's like it's a weapon.
It appears as though that might be the case.
I'm serious. It's a weapon. Yeah. People just need to think about it. It's a weapon. What? All right, let's get off that and go to asbestos, water well, water testing.
Yes, sir.
Lead-based paint testing, indoor air quality, probably the number one testing you do, is it not?
Yeah. Well, I mean, probably mold and radon and we do still do a ton of asbestos testing for demos and renovations, though.
Gotcha.
There's, that's going to be there because the truth of the matter is, if you have a commercial property that you need to demo, right, it could have been built in, 93, and you're still required to do an asbestos survey on it. One, because you can go to Home Depot and Lowe's right now and still buy stuff with asbestos in it. They just outlawed it in friable material, and most companies took it out for liability reasons. But if you have tar for like built-up roofing, who cares if it's 1-2%? You literally have to catch it on fire to get it out of there.
Right.
It's not going to leave that matrix and being harmful to anybody.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right, you got thermal imaging here. Do you use much thermal imaging?
Yes, for especially when we're doing mold inspections or water intrusion issues, right? Because you can I can't get up to a foyer unless I have a ladder, right? And sometimes it's just not going to work in some of these higher end houses or even some of the smaller ones.
Just getting the ladder in the house is unreal.
But I can hit it and see it. I can see if it's wet, or at least there's a temperature differential that signifies that it's wet.
Thermal imaging is a beautiful, wonderful new technology. I say new over the past 30 years.
Yes, sir.
Thermal imaging has really just come on strong and incredible tool. And what's amazing is what it shows you.
Yeah. When I got my certification for it, when I looked at it, it was 32 hours. I was like, wait, what? That's a college course. Why do I have to take a college course? I got about 30 minutes into it, and I'm like, okay, I get it. Because the applications for it are so broad. I mean, if you've got pumps, like you're in a facility that has pumps and fans and stuff like that, you can look at them, and if they're not lined right, you'll see it. It'll be bright red, because it's heating up in that area that's not aligned.
Right.
You can use it for looking at, transformers to see if there's any hot spots in that. I got a call one day. A guy goes, "Don't hang up on me." I'm like, "That's not a way to start a conversation. How can I help you?" He goes, "I need you. You got thermal imaging equipment, don't you? I said, yeah, I got a TR1. He goes, can you come down to Chesterfield Airport and test my airship? And I was like, what, please explain. He goes, it's a blimp. So it was the DirecTV blimp, and they were losing a lot of helium in it, right? And so you use the infrared to go around and look at the little pin, you see little pin holes in there, and then they would, mark it with a marker and come back and fix it, right? But you're using XRF. So I mean, it
would pick that up.
Yeah. Well, because it's superheated, so it's coming out
at a different temperature.
Yeah. So I mean, it's got the applications for it are
well,
endless.
Let's talk about thermal imaging and doing energy audits. Do you do audits?
Yes, not as much. I prefer,
know it came on strong for about 5 years, and then it
I prefer what we call building diagnostics testing, right? Where we'll go in and we'll get an idea of your pressure differentials with systems on, systems off. One system on, one system off, depends on the makeup of the building. And then blower door test to quantify the leakage of the building envelope, and then also duct blaster test to quantify the leakage of the ductwork. Because the company that I took the training from is a company called Saturn. They wrote the books on energy audits, like home energy audits anyway.
BPIs and all this.
Yeah, but they were on the boards of BPI and ResNet, but they were out of Montana. But like Montana, if you go there, they have 6 months of sub-freezing temperatures, right? So like, how if you go into like the Mellow Mushroom now or somewhere like that, there's no more drop ceiling tiles. They leave the up and they just paint it,
or paint it black,
paint the I-beams and all that stuff, and leave the ductwork up there, because now you don't have to seal it.
Right.
If it leaks, it's leaking into the building. So in Montana, that's the way it is in houses. I mean, that ductwork runs right there across the ceiling in the corners at the top where you can see it, and they don't even, I think out of all the houses that we went to during that training process, I think one house actually had air conditioning. It never gets above 72.
Well, they don't have air conditioning popular up in Seattle.
Yeah. But, you're sitting there looking at it going, oh, okay, well, you got heat. But there's no humidity. So you don't really have to worry about that getting it out of the system.
Many times I've mentioned there's 2 times in the year where an energy audit is best taken. When it's the coldest, like in February, and when it's the hottest and humidest, like right now.
Yep.
Why? Because the differentials are at their greatest point, be it cold versus hot, be it hot versus cold. I personally think the best time to do it is February because of the cold. The differentials are greater. I mean, I don't know your take on it.
I like to do the testing, show them where their air flows, how the building breathes with the systems on, with the systems off, one system on, one system off, that sort of stuff. And then you're using a manometer, you're getting all that information. You put it into, a small report for them and go, okay, well, if you're trying to save money, here are the, things you can do. But it's funny because where we live, like depending on a home that we're using, the home that we're working on, you get over 4,000 square feet. There's nothing energy efficient about that house.
I know.
It's too wasteful. It's too cut up. It's, because the bleed through is at your studs, and, every corner is going to have jacks and more, because a normal house should be about 25% framing, right? And, every space in between there, you got that great R value, right? But the bigger they are, the more they know. But I'll have people call me up and go, I got a 5,000 square foot home and our bill's through the roof. And I'm like, okay, well, tell me a little bit. Oh, you got a jacuzzi. Oh, okay. You got a pool. Oh, okay. Well, guess what? Your bills are going to be high.
I've told the story many times. You might have been the one on the show, and we talked thoroughly about energy and conservation and power bills. And she was listening, and I went to fix her, clean her dryer vent. And she said, I listened to your show Saturday, Ray. Good show, but I think we got we need an energy audit because I think I'm one of those problem houses. I says, what's your power bill? She says, $1,200. I said, my God. Oh, my Lord. Yeah, you're one of them problems. But she like 4,500 square foot pool in the backyard, everything. But she had some energy issues, and she did.
Oh, yeah.
She got it.
I always tell people, start with your ductwork. Yeah. Start with that ductwork. Right.
Yep. But we'll talk more about thermal imaging and the benefits of it because it shows what's going on.
Oh, yeah. And
especially in the hot parts or the cold February or August right now where the differential is greater, it shows up. But
and you do that blower door test, which puts the whole house under negative pressure, and you walk around with that infrared camera, and everywhere there's air leakages, it's exaggerated.
Exactly.
Right? And you can see exactly where it is. And it's always the same stuff, though.
Yeah.
Around windows.
Pretty common sense stuff, yeah. 704-227-8986, top of the hour break here. Devin Arnett, CDA Environmental, energy audits, how to save money, how to know where to put the money. We'll be back.
Hour 3, Devin Arnett of CDA Environmental talking mold, the various types of mold, and air quality, what you need to look out for, and also the signs you need to look out for. About Your House is brought to you in part by PutToolsInSchools.org, connecting students to tools of the trades and raising awareness of the many career pathways. Also, brought to you in part by Queen City Home Store. Queen City Home Store is a family-owned store serving the Carolinas for over 70 years. They're the largest independent appliance retailer in the Carolinas, constantly growing and taking pride in the experience that they offer customers with a knowledgeable sales staff, product selection, and lowest price guarantee. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some time with us. And now, here's your host, Ray Terry.
All right, talking to Devin Arnett, CDA Environmental, about, well, energy audits. That's what they used to call them. Now they're called building diagnostics.
Well, that's what we term
Well,
it
that's
when
a
we're
good
not
one.
when we're not doing, because you can do we got a program called Treat that we can do all the stuff, looking at your appliances, looking at your your insulation values, your everything, right? And you put it all together. And the whole point of the program is so that you can come up with these packages that will save you, you pay this amount of money to retrofit and do these almost weatherization type stuff.
Sure.
And you're going to save approximately this much money. But it's like, that savings to investment ratio is the most important thing. And like one of the least appealing of those is like better windows.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about windows a minute because and I know both the answer. A lot of people, just like crawl space encapsulation, window replacement, same kind of scheme. They'll come in there, these window replacement companies, windows, you know. I'll refer to one call one day. Guy calls me up on the show here and says, Ray, I'm looking at replacing my windows. What's your take on that? I says, well, you live in Charlotte, North Carolina. This ain't Vermont or Montana.
Yep.
It's not Wisconsin. We don't get but so cold. So how important are windows? They're important, but they're not that important to where you think that your energy bill is going to come down proportionally to window replacement. It won't happen. It won't happen. At least I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I said, by the way, how many square foot you got? He says 4,400. I said, oh my goodness gracious. You got 30 windows or better. Yep, sure do. And he
probably at that size, probably closer to 40.
Yeah. And I said, you're looking at $40,000. He said, yep. I said, heck no. The windows are not your problem.
Yeah.
No, do not put windows in that house. Do what we just talked about. Do a energy audit, figure out where your leaks are, fix them. To that point, this was back, I don't know, back when it was popular. When was that? Gee whiz. 2000, 2008, 9, 10, right around there where energy audits were a big deal.
Yep.
Right around 2010, I believe, somewhere in that vicinity. Okay, well, I said, you need an energy audit on that house because it was built in the 60s. So we did one. And thermal imaging and everything else. Did an air seal on it. Didn't go in there and encapsulate the attic or any of that, which that's very effective. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But they fixed all the issues on the audit, every one of them. Cut their bill down by 33%.
Nice.
Made that house comfortable. For a minimal investment, it wasn't even $3,000 they put in that house. That's minimal considering the return.
Oh, yeah.
And it worked.
Yep.
They did a complete air seal on that house, attic, crawl space, everywhere, and it worked. And that's a testimonial to what we're talking about.
Yeah. I always like to give this example. If you had single pane windows, right, original home built in whatever, and that R value of that window is 1, let's just say, and you buy a better window, right, triple pane, double R and gas.
Oh, yeah.
And now that R value is at, 6?
Right.
Maybe?
Right.
Maybe, right?
Right.
And you seal around it, when you got the window out,
foam it, whatever.
Do that. But if you had a vinyl house, right, and you stripped all that vinyl off, took care of it so you can put it back up, and you put 2 layers of polystyrene, which have an R value of about 7 each, right? So that's 14 more across the majority of the surface of the exterior walls. Because it's very small, unless you just have crazy windows. The windows aren't, they're 25 to 40% of the
exact
opaque,
coverage,
opaque. So, so if your R value on your walls, your exterior walls right now are sitting at 20, right? Now you put in another 14, you're almost doubling that R value.
Right.
Right. So and then put your siding back over it, right? But you can't do that with brick veneer.
Right.
You're not going to tear down brick and put it back up, So,
no, Lord, no.
So it ain't an option in houses like that. And we have a lot of those, that 5-4 in a door.
But, insulation wise, are you a foam believer?
I have yet to figure out exactly. So I like the attic, but the only thing that I don't like about the attic is, what is that doing to the shingles?
I know what it's doing to them. It's saving the life of them.
Uh-huh.
I know that for a fact. I've seen it. I've witnessed it.
Yeah.
Once again, I did a room addition, a commercial office.
Closed cell, right? Closed cell?
No,
foam?
this was open.
Open? Okay.
No, excuse me. Let me tell the story first, because what I'm talking about is the thermal exchange.
Gotcha.
Involved, in heat. Okay, I went to put an addition on a house down on Hebron years ago, and we were cutting the valley in, the shingles, and I was on the existing roof, which was about 25, 30 years old. The building. It was like a house, but it was a commercial office building. but it was built like very similar to a house. And I noticed how flexible and new the shingles were on the existing structure, taking them up and, weaving them in like we're supposed to. And then I noticed there was insulation board under it, foam insulation board. So I went in and talked to Mr. Myers, one of my mentors of life, actually, engineer, great guy. God bless him. He was a great man, a great engineer. And I walked in and I asked him, I says, got a minute? He says, what? I says, what's up with this foam on your roof? He says, Ray, it's all about heat and thermal transfer. I knew if I could insulate those shingles when I put that roof on, that it would save the life of those shingles because we're taking some of the heat away. And it does. Okay, it does. It's amazing. The life of those shingles were extended tremendously. Okay. So immediately I said, well, this is something I've just got to understand. Well, then here comes foam. Then they start encapsulating attics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the temperature of that attic was cut down. It's never above 80 degrees in an attic that's encapsulated. 80 degrees, wow, you're coming down from 140 to 150 degrees down in your attic, which is heating up that deck, right? Which is heating up the shingle.
Yep.
You eliminate most of that heat transfer.
Yeah.
So it extends the life of the roof. Now, I was on WBT in the early 90s, and I told that story. 3M wrote me a letter the next following week, told me don't do it because they didn't want, they told me don't preach that story. Well, that's changed because they realized then and they know now it extends the life of the shingles. So if you have a new roof and you've got energy problems, you can encapsulate that attic. And why I say new roof? Because the average sheet decking replacement on a roof replacement is from 7 to 10 sheets.
Yeah.
Well, that's 7 to 10 times 32 square feet of foam insulation you're going to damage or eliminate, taking the old decking up, putting the new decking down, right? You with me? So if you've got an old roof, you don't want to encapsulate your ceiling attic. But if you got a newer roof or you need a new roof, go ahead and get that roof work done by a great roofer and then encapsulate your attic. And you will cut your heating costs down, increase your comfort incredibly, and you'll change the whole dynamics of your house.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. The only thing, what I got to take into consideration is the off gassing.
I got that.
That's
and you're
thing.
talking about off gassing due to the foam itself.
Yeah. When you do
has
spray
that
foam,
been an issue?
Oh yeah, people with sensitivities, or maybe they don't even have sensitivities.
Is it closed or open?
Odor. Both. I mean, I ran
they
into
both do
both.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're going to cure. I mean, that's just it's just the way it is. And if you have leaky return ductwork in that attic space or that crawl space where you're doing it, you're gonna bring those vapors right on in. Now, are they a health issue? Not for me to decide.
I understand.
Go let the doctors figure that out. But it is a nuisance issue to some of them, and
that's gotten better though with the new formulas of foam.
Yeah,
too,
I think so because I'm not getting as many calls, but I still get them from time to time.
Well, I knew it was a problem starting. Yeah. With and you and me both have been down this road many times. With any new product in the industry, you've got issues around contamination and toxins, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Any new product.
Yeah, anything anything that they do, like they try to, like a good thing right now is to look at EVs, like electric vehicles, right? The parking decks, because of the weight of them, some of them ain't built for that. If you had a whole 3-floor parking deck full of these ER vehicles with that extra weight, they weren't designed for that.
Right.
And people don't think about that. And now we're having particulates rise around, roadways, of course, because the ERVs are so much heavier. It takes a lot more to slow them down. So you're getting a lot more particulates coming off of those vehicle brake systems than you do conventional, So it's like you fix this, but you cause this.
There's so much around. Look, I love EVs as far as acceleration in the car and all that, but I don't like them at all any longer because they're not environmentally safe.
Oh, and where you get the battery components?
I'm talking completely, but to manufacture that battery, put that car on the road, it doesn't make sense.
No, I mean, to me, if you buy a small one and you just go tootling around town, no more than 10 miles a day, okay.
Oh yeah,
all right.
perfect.
But for me, if I ever bought one, it would be a hybrid.
Right.
I would have to be able to switch over and because that is, to me, is probably from my standpoint as energy, from an energy standpoint anyway, from an environmental standpoint as well. If you can recharge that battery with that, so there's a lot. If you have just a regular conventional gasoline vehicle, right?
Internal combustion.
There is once that generator or the alternator puts back that electricity that you used to start it, and it's only running your lights and your radio or whatever, maybe your HVAC system or whatever, but there's a lot of energy that's going nowhere.
Right.
I mean, it's just getting wasted. So if you can put that back into a battery that's in the car, great. So I mean, the hybrids, I think, are the way to go.
I agree. I like them. They recharge themselves. They've got just more benefits. And there's a possibility of getting stuck with an EV, with an ICE or the hybrids. Hybrids being both internal combustion and electric facility.
Yeah. And if something goes wrong with one of them, you got the other.
Yeah.
So it's almost like I'm former military. I like redundancy. I like redundant systems.
Something to back you up.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. Well, getting back to the energy audit thing, because I want people to understand that that's still available. It's still done. You do that service.
Yes, sir.
And you're doing it for people still.
Yes. Like I said, mainly we're doing building diagnostic testing. I'm just worried about pressure differences and where the air is going in the house, where you're getting into leaks. And a lot of times you can tell if they have missing insulation with the infrared camera.
I agree.
You can do all that. And the duct system is really just so important that it's sealed correctly. Good zip tie followed by tape, followed by mastic, and those connections. And if you can get that thing to 6%, that's fantastic. For energy savings.
That is good because the average 20 years ago was 30% air leakage for ductwork. So that means if you've got a house built in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, some of them even into the 90s, you have a lot of duct leakage.
And I'll be honest with you, the high-end homes, 5, 6, 7,000 square foot homes, they are the worst. They're just zip tied. That's it. Nothing else.
Crazy. 704-227-8986. Devin Arnett, CDA Environmental in the house. Come back. We'll be here.
More about the show? Go to our Facebook page, About Your House Radio. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Hello everyone, Mike Sims here from Crown Town Cannabis, Charlotte's first cannabis dispensary. We have grown over the years and we are now throughout the state of North Carolina. You can find us all the way from Pisgah National Forest to Waves, North Carolina. Find more information about our stores online as well as locations or purchase online at cltcbd.com, crowntowncannabis.com, Use code HOUSE15 for 15% off your purchases online or in store. We have products to help you through everyday life and to help you enjoy this show even more.
There's big news in the Carolinas. Queen City Audio, Video, and Appliances is now Queen City Home Store. For over 70 years, we've been your trusted retailer for appliances, electronics, and more. Now, we're taking it to the next level with a new name, a fresh look, and more ways to serve you. Offering the same outstanding service you've always counted on, while bringing you everything you need for your home. Queen City Home Store. Same great service, more possibilities. Visit us at queencityonline.com.
The professionals at Kilo Exterminating Company have over 70 years of experience in pest control. Throughout the years, they always pride themselves on maintaining the highest standard of quality and customer service, with every technician being state certified. And moisture readings are standard with every inspection. Their top priority is ensuring your home is free from pests such as ants, mosquitoes, termites, and any other pests wreaking havoc on your home. That's Kilo Exterminating at 704-333-9855 or online, kilo.biz. That's 704-333-9855.
Libretto's Pizzeria was established in 2004 in New York City. It's located in Charlotte on John J. Delaney Drive in the Ballantyne area, serving up authentic New York pizzas and a full Italian menu. Come in casual, hang out, and relax. We offer dine-in, takeout. You can order delivery. We could also cater your special event. Libretto's has got you covered. I am Mike Libretto. We are also the home of Spinello's famous infused take and bake pizzas. Visit us online at librettospizzeria.com and spinellospizza.com or call us at 704-714-1442.
Have a comment or question for the show? Call us 704-227-8986. That's 704-227-8986. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back. Devin Arnett, CDA Environmental's in the house talking, well, we're talking toxins, health, wellness. What makes your house sick?
Houses don't get sick. People in them get sick. So, I mean, doing this as long as I've been doing it, there's a whole gambit of things going on, right? And the main thing that's a problem is people with sensitivities or somebody who's been through something before and they think they may be going through it again, like a mold incident. Like if they had a $50,000 mold remediation project on a house 10 years ago, and now they're scared to death it's happening again.
Fear.
Yeah.
Fear drives a lot of this, and what you hear on TV and you see on things just around mold itself. They've made mold a bad word, and people just don't understand mold.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the individual sensitivities to it are just, they vary so greatly. right? And I take extra time when I'm talking to potential clients that they know that no matter what, take this to your doctor. Show them your exposure, right? Let them look at the different species, let them look at what you got there. And, we live in a place where pollen, mold, I mean, this is pretty much the allergy capital of the United States because today wind can be blowing east to west and you're getting everything, all the different molds that grow in the coastal region, as well as the pollen from the different flora and everything in the Piedmont region today. And then tomorrow it's blowing west to east. And now you're getting everything from the mountains in the Piedmont region. So people that have allergies and sensitivities and stuff like that, this is not a great place.
But there again, and I'm going to talk about, no, I'm not a doctor, but I know a thing or two, as you do. And your health overall is another byproduct of what the deal is. In other words, if you're not eating correctly, if you don't take care of yourself, your temple, your body, that you're only asking for more trouble. So you need to take care of that as well as the environment it stays in.
Yeah, and the newer homes are so tight that there's no air. There's no, unless you put an ERV or some sort of makeup air system in there. Anything you spray, anything off gassing, it just has nowhere to go.
Well, there again, there's what we talked about earlier. As technology changes, as science changes, as building methodologies have changed to tighter structures, well, part of the byproduct of that is more toxins in the house, in the environment.
Yeah. And like, let's say you moved into a home and your radon levels were well below that action limit. Let's say they were 2.3 or whatever picocuries per liter of air instead, but they were underneath that 4, right? And you come in, you hire somebody to come in there and do an energy audit and retrofit it and tighten that building envelope up. Did anybody mention that you need to retest for radon now because it's got nowhere to go? But the companies who do that kind of work don't do what I do, so they don't come at it from that angle, right? And so you may cause a problem by just retrofitting your house,
I, with you, think we're building houses too tight. And literally, we're building them too tight.
Well, if you watched, what I've watched is you go somebody, I want a $500,000 home, Mr. Builder, build me a home. And they go, well, okay, gonna be $500,000, but you want to be environmentally friendly, right? Let's do this Energy Star, right? How much is that going to cost me? Yeah, another $30,000 for updated appliances, this and that, weatherization stuff, extra wrap.
Are you an Energy Star fan?
No. I mean, I don't. My electric bills don't cause me much concern, to be honest with you. I don't. For whatever reason, like I keep my house cold during the winter, and I'll have a 74 right now. I don't mind.
74 is fine if your humidity's fine.
Yeah.
If you got humidity, 76 is comfortable.
But let's say it's a 3,500 square foot home, right? They're getting a good deal on it, so they say hey, an extra $35,000. Now you're up to whatever, right? And then they get done, and they go, "Well, you wanted to be Energy Star, so we're doing a blower door test." You're not getting enough, according to the American Society for Heating and Air Conditioning and Refrigeration Engineers. You're not getting enough fresh air. So now you got 2 systems, right? And now you have to retrofit with ERVs, energy recovery ventilation systems.
And when that should have been included in the whole plan to start with. ERV, energy recovery ventilation.
Yes, sir.
That's what ERV means.
Yep.
And in these new homes, ERVs should be standard.
Yeah. And I don't think that like they don't always take advantage of what they can do with those. So like, let's say somebody's doing that and they have allergies, right? You can adjust those ERVs to where they're bringing in a little more fresh air than outside air, putting you under a little bit of positive pressure. So that now you're not getting that leakage through any of those penetrations that are still left, around windows and stuff like that, can be bringing pollen and mold spores in it, causing you, health issues.
But how many people get that deep into the issue?
All of them that talk to me, because I get them into it. I explain.
But you
to them.
do.
Yep.
But you have to explain it to them.
But the builders aren't.
I know.
And I don't think they're bad people. They just don't know what
they
don't know.
They just don't know what. There you go.
They don't know what they don't know.
Right. And there's a learning curve.
Yep.
That everybody has to pick up on as we go forward.
Yeah. And I was posing this because like you look at these environmental issues and like whose fault is it? Like I always give this analogy. If you had a 100-unit apartment complex that you owned and you wanted to repaint everybody's units and you go, okay, I want to be environmentally friendly here, right? I want to use low VOC paint, right? I want to use a local company, right? Cool. You do all that, everything's great. Out of that 100 tenants that are there, one has multiple chemical sensitivity. They get sick. They actually have to go to the hospital, right? Because of their exposure to the off-gassing of those paints. Whose fault is that? Is it the manufacturer of the paint? Well, they made low VOC paint.
I don't think there is a fault. I think it's part of nature.
Yeah.
Just
But somebody's always looking for who's at fault.
Oh, they gonna blame. We're a big blame. We're a blaming culture. Somebody's got to know who to sue.
Somebody's looking. Yeah, somebody's looking for somebody to blame.
I mean, really, that's the way it is. And you're right. Everybody's looking to blame, point fingers.
And at the end of the day, the only ones that win are the lawyers. So,
thank you.
And that's the truth of the matter.
No, that is the truth. You're right. That's what kind of world we live in.
I had to talk a client out yesterday because he was, there's an odor, some VOC they think, right? But the company that they were renting the place from actually had somebody come out there and do testing. They send me the results, and they're like, "Well, what do you think?" And I'm like, as far as the levels here, you're not above any kind of personal exposure limit through OSHA. You may be exceeding something from the EPA as far as non-residential screening levels, but those aren't backed by regulations, so you can't go after them for that. He goes, well, I said, because literally you're going to have to do 2 tests inside, and these are very intricate TO15 VOC analysis, one outside and one in the hallway. Now you're talking $5,000, right? What are you trying to get out? What you're trying to break your lease and get money back because you're saying it's uninhabitable from the beginning. How are we going to do that?
So he's trying to prove a case that he can win on.
Yeah, but like I said, if he goes to the lawyer is going to go, well, yeah, we can give this a try. They're getting paid
a lot of money.
They're getting paid. No matter what.
Right.
I'd like to know how many mold, are lawyers that do mold work that have never won a case. I mean, I bet they're out there, and I bet that numbers would be a little surprising to you because it doesn't matter. They're still getting paid.
Exactly.
Because they ain't doing it pro bono.
That's right. No, I hear you. I do. But mold has become a big issue because of ignorance primarily.
Mm-hmm. And because over the years, you see that like peanut allergies in kids, things are happening now that weren't always the way they are, and people's susceptibility because they do stay inside. They don't get outside much. Their immune systems, COVID, I knew, like I'd never even heard of RSV till after COVID came through. That respiratory illness that now they got a vaccine for. Amazing how quickly they did that. But your system is built on exposure. So when they locked everything down, I knew what was going to happen as soon as they unlocked everything. There was going to be a rash of a bunch of illnesses, right? And like I said, that RSV, I'm sure it was around, but I'd never heard of it before. Never ran across it. Never ran across a client who had it.
Money, 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 money.
Yeah, exactly.
It's what it's all about. Everything. It's what it's all about. Get more of your money. That's it. Where'd common sense go? Turn your TV off. That's a biggie right there. Because if you want to be herded, go ahead, turn it on.
Yeah, my best news sources are on my phone.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I see something on some station that all it does is make me go, actually, okay, now I got to go research that myself. To see if it's actually true or what.
You're like me. You don't believe nothing.
Nothing. No,
I don't believe anything.
And I'm also originally from Missouri, so that's the show me state. You got to show me.
I wanted to see some proof for sure. Let me ask you this. We talk about energy audits since we're in the throes of summer here with the high humidities. When you write up a plan and you effectively have given that plan to your homeowner, they get it taken care of. And let me explain that. Your job is to go out and identify issues.
Yes, sir.
That's all you do.
Yes, sir.
You present the issues to the homeowner or client, be it property owner, whatever.
Yes, sir.
And it's up to them to get it remediated.
Yes, sir.
Whether certified or whoever, it doesn't matter.
Now, clients will go, "Hey, can you give me some referrals?" And I tell them the same thing. I'm like, I don't really care who you use as long as they do good work. But if you want referrals, I'll give you 5 referrals of people I know. And what I think happens, and this is purely speculation, but I think I have some proof behind it, that when you're in business for as long as we have been and we have good referrals, right? That many of these companies have a crew that maybe has a little more turnover than the rest and maybe aren't as good as the rest. If I refer them and they're looking at my reports as CDA, they're not going to send those crews on my projects. You know what I'm saying? Like I hear, because even the best companies out there, because people quit or whatever, and
Sure,
it
you have
happens.
turnover. Sure,
Yeah, and so don't send them on my projects, because if you want to keep getting referrals, everybody makes a mistake from time to time, and when you're dealing with stuff you can't see with the naked eye, like indoor air quality, it can get a little funky and
Gotcha.
a little confusing sometimes. So yeah, I mean, I think that overall, I made a great decision because I did mainly geology. I did asbestos and lead when I worked for another company and was running the environmental services department, but we rarely did, complete indoor air quality assessments for all kinds of things, right? But I made a conscious decision because I was like, well, we were dealing with a lot of gas stations, pumps, that leaked, like manufacturers, that leaked the, stuff,
Sure.
toluene, whatever it is, but the systems, like, especially like the underground storage tanks, now they're double walled. They got these Vita root systems and these bells and whistles, the pumps they'll automatically shut off anytime there's so that work was going away. When I first started in this business, my company had 8 geologists, right? And I was the only field guy for all of them.
Wow.
Right? Which was great because I got to learn. By the time I'd worked there a couple of years, I had more experience than every single one of those geologists out in the field.
Right.
Right. Just because that's what I did every day, all day, and I loved it. Then it got to a point where I was doing the same thing over and over again. But when I started my own company, I was like, well, I'm doing environmental site. So there's these things called environmental site assessments. So let's say somebody wanted to buy this building, right? You do what's called a phase 1 environmental site assessment, where I come and look at the background of this property for 80 years. Look at all the different databases, like the underground storage tank and leaky underground storage tank.
So you
and
look for
all
the
these
history.
because there's no sampling in a phase 1. You're just looking to go, is there anything here that suggests that we need to do a phase 2 and actually do some testing? So we found out that this building. Have you ever seen Sanborn maps?
No.
Sanborn maps were these things that were back in the late 1800s all the way to the early 1900s. They were insurance maps, right? And they were hand drawn, right? So you can go and look at them for Charlotte over there in the library, right? All the
Wow.
way back to 1875. And like one of them, when I was doing one of the property over here, one of the adjacent properties was a building that was about 40 feet by about 20 feet. And because it's in digital, I was able to zoom in on it. And it was, I don't know, I think it was either late 1800s or early 1900s. It was the Charlotte Observer.
Wow.
When they first had their little print and press.
Yeah, sure.
And it was, and right next to it was a stable. And right next to that was a dwelling, like a rental dwelling or whatever. But yeah, you look at the background of the property to see if there's anything that needs to be looked at further. And what's crazy is like where we're at right now, inside, or like inside the 277, you don't want to test water. There's no clean water. There's none. There's going to be contamination, and no matter where you pop a hole, just because it's so old.
Right.
I mean, and people have been contaminated it, and it was been contaminated. So I try to stay away from those phase 1s, because you have to recommend a phase 2 that you actually do some sampling, because there was an underground storage tank here and nobody has any information on whether it leaked or not when they
So
took it out.
you got to test it.
Yeah. So we do quite a bit of those as well. But me and Brandon are the only ones with the experience to do those. But that's interesting, and you get to see, what when you pull up these reports and they show you, like if you looked at in 277, if you zoomed out on it, it'd be nothing but a bunch of points that have contamination. You'd have to zoom in to actually see some land, because it's just everywhere. It's everywhere.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, getting back to a protocol, so to speak,
Mhm.
You as a homeowner, CDA Environmental is what we call a hygienist. right?
Well, I prefer environmental biologist.
Okay,
go ahead.
environmental biology.
Yes,
That's
sir.
why we can correct here. But you hear the word hygienist mentioned.
Well, there's a separate certification for what they call industrial hygienist.
Okay.
Right. And that's the kind those people very good certification to get and very good license to have. And they're the kind of people who do compliance testing. Like if you like Hershey, they'll tell you how much Hershey chocolate dust you can be exposed to over an 8-hour time. That's their field of expertise.
Wow.
But they do crossover into some mold and some asbestos, but for the
Right.
most part, they're trying to
Right.
do that
Right.
industrial stuff. But when we write a report for a mold inspection, we write the protocol on what's to be done, right? Because we're working for the client.
Sure.
And I always tell them, our services don't stop when you get the report. You can give me these proposals and I'll tell you what I think about them. And all contractors, I hate to say it, I don't want to badmouth any contractors, and I used to think it was a bad thing to say, all contractors work the same. If they're busy, they tend to bid it high. If they're not busy, they tend to bid it low, right? They need to get the guys out of the warehouse. But now, having owned a company with multiple people, I understand that if you take on this new project, they may have to work overtime. So, of course, people working overtime get paid more than people who are not working overtime. So, in reality, maybe they're raising the price a bit, but it's to cover the cost of getting that job done within the time frame that you want it done.
Mm-hmm. Got it. But he writes a protocol. He'll even suggest companies to take care of the remediation, to fix it, to repair it, to put it where it needs to be safe. And then you come back out and do an inspection?
Yeah, clearance testing, yeah.
A clearance testing?
Yeah, clearance testing.
He'll clearance test it to make sure the work was done adequately and the way it's supposed to be done. And then you're good to go. But understand, he's third party.
Yep.
He doesn't have a dog in the fight.
Yeah.
Other than what's wrong.
Yeah, and that clearance is like when you go to sell the house and you're doing all your disclosure, right? Or sell the commercial property and you're doing your disclosure. They don't care about the full report. They don't care what happened. They just want to see that clearance that everything's okay now.
Right. And now let me give you an example of what we're talking about. Got a call one day, and this is only one story of many I could tell you. I got a call from a listener, turned customer. He says, Ray, I told you we were going to sell our house. Well, we're ready to pull the trigger. And I had a home inspector come out here yesterday, and I don't know who he was, don't care. And he said, I had some water issues in the crawl space, and we're going to have to do some repair work on water issues. I said, for what? He says, what do you mean? I says, well, just to make a blanket statement like that's crazy. I says, one thing, you need a hygienist out there to inspect it. If you're concerned about water, mold, mildew, anything in your crawl space, and you're going to sell that house right now, because I've been under your crawl space, I have crawled your crawl space. There is nothing wrong with your house. Nothing. Maybe it's got some minor mold issues or whatever. Okay, I'll buy that. But let me tell you, encapsulation is not the ticket.
Yeah.
You need to call a hygienist, get him out there, do an inspection, and get him right to protocol, and then get it taken care of. Then call him back out there, get it inspected.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be clear to sell your house and everything's done.
Yep.
That's the manner in which you should attack it. He did. As I told him, no, there wasn't a big invasive water issue. There wasn't. Very minimal, relatively speaking, less than $2,000 of work, which is minimal.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's not bad at all. So my point is, depending on who you call, they're going to sell you. They're going to sell you services. Do you need them? That's why you need the hygienist in there to tell you what you need.
Yep. Yeah, but when you don't have a dog in the fight,
they're telling you what you need to do, not what we want to sell you.
The problem with mold and radon is, unlike asbestos, why that's a state certification, North, South Carolina, wherever state you're in. They will not allow you to be both an asbestos inspector and also an abatement contractor.
That's crazy. Yeah, right. All right, we're going to take a final break of the show. Devin Arnett, CDA Environmental. We'll be right back.
show? Go to our Facebook page, About Your House Radio. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Owens Chimney Systems is known for all professional chimney services since 1989, including chimney cleaning, recommended annually, chimney evaluations and inspections, any and all chimney repairs and restorations, gas fireplace and gas fire log service, furnace cleaning, cleaning out one of the most overlooked appliances in the home. Get it done right the first time. That's Owens Chimney Systems at 704-554-9595. Or you can visit us online at owenschimneysystems.com.
Summer heat is here, along with the humidity. Will your air conditioner provide the comfort needed? ABS Insulating can provide the resources to give you comfort this summer and all year. ABS Insulating uses the latest technology and products to insulate and seal the envelope of your home, creating a comfortable environment all year long, also extending the life of the air conditioning. Call ABS Insulating today for lasting comfort tomorrow. 704-821-4343 or absinsulating.com.
Steve Helms here with the Al Metal Driving Corporation. The Al Metal Driving Corporation is a full-service driving company. Regardless of the problem, we can handle it. Does your clothes dryer take longer than 45 to 50 minutes to dry a load? If so, you need your dryer vent cleaned or checked. The clothes dryer is the most inefficient appliance in the house and should never take longer than 45 to 50 minutes. Call Al Metal Dryer Vent today at 704-846-8368 or online at almetaldryervent.com. That's 704-846-VENT. Have you cleaned your dryer vent lately?
Hi, I'm Sam Otero of AteroMedia.com. Someone asked me once what I love the most about my 30-year-long career as a media producer and educator, and I have to say the fact that not only do I get to create for a living every day, but then I get to teach and help others to use the content and gear systems that I've built for them themselves. You need professional live event video production or streaming services? You're in great hands. Family business. All 5-star Google reviews. That's ETTARO media.com.
Have a comment or question for the show? Call us 704-227-8986. That's 704-227-8986. Now, back to the show.
All right, welcome back. Talking environmental air quality, environmental toxins, health and wellness. What do we talked about a lot of stuff. Every bit of this has to do with breathing and respiratory issues, primarily. Wouldn't you say that?
I would say that, and sensitivities.
Right. Now I'm going to talk about something that I came across in my career, and that's radon. Radon, is it as big a deal as some make it out to be?
It is the one thing that in any house, if you're talking about residential, that I would test for. And the reason being, it's the number 2 cause of lung cancer, only behind smoking, right? And 2 is if I go into a house, I can look and go, oh, well, that's growing there. That could be mold. I can go, well, that could contain asbestos. I can look at it and I can physically see that, right? Radon, you can't see, right? You got to test. That's the only way to.
How popular is it?
It's getting more and more popular. The problem that we have right now is same thing with mold. Is it's not regulatory. It's not on the books. So there are states like Pennsylvania that have regulations on the books for radon, and that this is how you handle it. This is who can do it. This is the training that they get. This is who can fix it, right? But the main problem I see is home inspectors are doing it now as part of their
Yeah, I know.
thing,
That's why.
and I don't mind them making money, right? Which is what they're doing, but they use a real time monitoring device. And if you ask them these questions, because they're not really in this field, so they don't understand quality control. If you ask them, you go, "Hey, do you get that thing calibrated?" They're going to go, "Yeah, every year, every 6 months, whatever." And you go, "Hey, when you got it back, did they give you a certificate saying that thing's, you know, calibrated?" They go, "Yeah." I say, "Hey, one other question. When they got it, did they tell you whether it was out of calibration or not?" Because the EPA guidelines, which we have to use here, are, should use because that's the only thing we got. It's 2 tests side by side. So with those monitoring systems, if they just put a third party test on it as your quality control, I don't have a problem with it. And then, but also they don't always explain from a consultant standpoint what they should be explaining, right? Because they're not consultants. So in other words, if let's say your sample comes back at 3.8, right? And I tell you, it's plus or minus 3. Right? That could be over 4, it could be under 4. But even more important is, like during COVID when they were screaming, follow the science, I was laughing because the World Health Organization has that number at 2.7 picocuries per liter of air, whereas the European Union has it at 2.7 as well. The EPA actually has a thing called the Citizens Guide that says, well, we would actually like to see it under 2. In my mind, outside levels are between 0.3 and 0.5. You should be pretty close to that in your house, right? But that also led this. We finally did our first 20-year study on residential. Probably came out about 7-8 years ago, and it led to another study that they're thinking that the cancer that's associated with cigarette smoking might not actually be from the chemicals in the cigarette. It might be from the radon that has leached up into the plants themselves. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's the one thing that I would do no matter what, just because I can't see it, can't taste it, can't smell it. And if it's there, the only way you're going to find out, and it's a cheap thing to address,
Well, how do you address radon?
It depends on the situation. Let's say you're on a slab on grade, right? You do a sub-slab depressurization system. So all it is perforated pipe underneath that, or you core in and put perforated pipe, or you can retrofit it to a sump pump, right? Where you're pulling air, and instead of air coming up from the slab, the air goes down, assuming that's where it's coming from. Because it can also come from granite countertops. It can come from well water. It can come from ornate rock chimneys. There's several ways you can get it, but most of the time it's coming from the soil. If it's a crawl space, you can do what they call a submembrane depressurization system, which is just perforated pipe underneath that vapor barrier. What's really come as something so if you were say you're a builder in Buncombe County, Asheville, right? Well, they do passive systems as part of the initial construction. So
right.
they
Goes
put it
in
on
the
there
mountain
before,
areas, which is very prevalent.
Yeah. But what they have found out is if you do that and you have, like, let's say a basement or subgrade walls of a walkout basement or something like that, and you're getting a lot of moisture coming up through the slab, you hook that system just like you would for radon, and it dries it out quick and in a hurry because now everything's going down,
right?
Through the slab and not coming up. And that also covers other gases as well. That might.
Well, it's a good ventilation system.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, in my mind, radon is the number one thing I would look for in any home anywhere.
Really?
Yep. I don't care if you're on a condo, because we have a problem here in Charlotte with it in condos.
Well, I've talked to some home inspectors, and I get that. I've gotten that same message.
Yeah.
It's very, very popular in condos and that sort of thing.
Yeah. And that's because it's emanating from the aggregate and the concrete. So
what you're saying is mostly natural stones and what have you.
Yeah. So I won't get too caught up in the minutia of it, but uranium, radioactive solid rock, decays into radium, which is a rock, which decays into radon gas. It's a gas. And that has a half-life of about 4 days, 3.8 days or whatever. So if this was full of radon gas in 3.8 days, it would only be half full of radon gas now. And the next two things are the problem. It goes to polonium-214 and polonium-218, which are charged particles. So you breathe those in, and they attach into your lungs, and they're emitting little alpha rays. And if you mutate a cell right? That keeps those protein receptors that make the white blood cells don't know that it's bad. It thinks it's supposed to be there. That's cancer, you know? So, I mean, the only thing it causes is lung cancer, right? I mean, not only, but I mean, that's what you're trying to avoid.
I got you.
Yeah.
But so really it's just a ventilation matter. You don't have to tear anything up to speak of. You can retrofit most all these cases.
Yeah.
And
So
it's-
if you're in a condo, ERV,
oh, okay.
you just dilute the issue. Is it the best fix? No, but it's the only fix. You know, really. I mean, they don't really have filtration devices that can do a good job. You know, but the thing about it is, because we have a state that doesn't have regulations in it, I keep running into systems that don't have any bells and whistles on it. So if you have a pump that's in a attic, that's pulling from the crawl space or whatever, you got to have some way of knowing if that thing quits working.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they do have a code for like sump pumps.
Yes, they do.
That garage buzzer, that'll be going off. That thing quits working. There should be the same thing for the radon system. Nobody's getting out there and checking it. If you have a pipe running somewhere where you can get to it, you can feel it.
Well, I could go to inspections. What about the crawl space encapsulation that was done 5 years ago? Anybody gone down there and looked at it? I crawled under a house one day and it was coming off the walls. Seams were coming up.
Yep.
And I says, when's the last time somebody put that, under this house? And she said, Lord, it's been probably 5 years. I said, ma'am, you got issues.
Yeah.
I said, you got major issues. She said, what? Your membrane's coming apart downstairs in the crawl. What do you mean? And I showed her because I took some pictures, But who look, you got to take care of this stuff. Just like I said, crawl spaces.
Yeah.
Your crawl space should be inspected. I don't care what, at least every one or 2 years.
Yeah. I'll never have a crawl space again. My last 2 houses are slab on grade. I'm not
I'm
going that way.
glad you brought that up. So if I ask you, what would you prefer, slab or crawl space?
I'm going slab. Listen, even if you live in some place that has lots of freezing temperatures, because everybody always says the same thing, you'll freeze your piping and then you got to jackhammer that out of there. Just heat it.
Right.
They got bands. You can heat your slab.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You can put it on a battery that'll run. Let's say your power goes out, it ain't rocket science. It ain't that hard.
No, it's
but
not.
I got everything between here and China insulating my house underneath. I don't have to worry about bugs. I don't have to worry about termites.
I'm with you on crawl space versus slabs. Slabs make more sense.
But I have determined why they do it, because aesthetically it looks bigger from the outside. It's not, but it looks bigger. It's taller.
Footprint's same.
Footprint's the same.
Footprint's the same. Hey, big guy, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate
Thank you. Thank you for letting me come out.
Time's about up on us. As always, it has to end. But how do you prefer? Go online?
Call me.
Call you.
I think that's in the day of AI right now, I think the biggest attaboy we get is that we either answer the phone when you call or we call you right back.
That's right. Answer that phone. Most important thing we do every day is what?
Answer that phone.
Communicate. 704-661-7938. Devin Arnett's his name. Inspections is game.
Yes, sir.
If you got issues with your house, he's a great guy to call. How many years experience now?
25. I had my company for 22.
25 years in the home inspection business. And when I say home inspection, I'm not talking real estate. I'm talking environmental, quality, toxins, and health.
Yes, sir.
Pretty much takes care of it. So that's CDA Environmental, 704-661-7938. Devin Arnett. And he's the guy that will talk to you as well.
Yep. I'll be one to pick up.
So sometimes he'll talk you out of your problems.
Yes, sir.
Because a lot of times you think you have problems and you don't. But it's a great place to start. Now go make it a great week. Thank you, Devin, once again. Appreciate you. Always. He's always there when I need him. I'll tell you that. And he'll work with your doctor too.
Yes. Yes, I will.
So there you go. All right. About Your House next week, right here, Fox Sports Charlotte. Come on back to see us. We'll be here. Look forward to it. Go find a child, a mentor, find the elderly, because they won't find you. Ask them if they need any help. They need it. We'll see you next week right here on About Your House. PutToolsInSchools.org.